Guys, we are live. This is the welcome to Discovering Cinema. Ryan and I have a very special guest. We have Aaron Pynn, a semi-regular on the show. He's been on here a couple months ago regularly, and then we did this on my channel last year. But this is the best releases of the year, and this is how we're doing the list. We're not objectively saying this is the best release on an objective level. We are measuring these in terms of how much we enjoyed them. So the way I did it personally was I looked at the release. Did I love it? Yes. It got put into the pile of movies that I like. What's going on, Dave? And then I looked at it and said, how many special features does it have? And if I enjoyed those special features. So, yeah, I'm really excited. This has been a phenomenal year for physical media. Jeff, what's going on? I think this has been the best year for physical media in a long time. I mean, last year, me and Aaron said the same thing. We said 2020 was incredible. And then this year just blew it away, in my opinion.
Oh my God, yes.
But before we start the list, do you guys have any noticeable watches that you watched this week?
Sure. What, you want to go first there, Aaron?
I watched a lot. I mean, I watched, what was it I watched? I watched Venom. That's all I watched this week. Pretty much watched Venom, Let There Be Carnage, which was a lot of fun, I got to say. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. The only thing I watched this week, as far as that is concerned. I watched a few documentaries, but...
Did you like Venom?
It. Pardon?
Did you like Venom, Let There Be Carnage?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. I mean, like, it's exactly what you want for, like, something's can be kind of mid-range.
Okay.
It's a bromance. It's like I know some people probably went in expecting Carnage to go and like rip spines out and stuff like that. That's not realistic for this type of movie and the audience that it's set for. It wouldn't work. But you know, they'll just say, well, you know, there's Deadpool, yes, but Venom and you know, kind of connected with Spider-Man in a way, so he's kind of a different beast when it comes to that. You're not going to have this all gore fest Venom movie. You can, but it sucks because then half your audience is gone. You can't kids can't watch it. They can watch it, but you know,
it's so weird because when you look at Venom, like when I first watched the Venom trailer, my wife was like, "Don't play it around the kid." And I'm like, "This is a kid's movie. I mean, not for a 3-year-old, but like it's for kids. It's a kid movie, you know." Like, but it looks horrifying. Like Venom is very fun. But the most noticeable thing I watched this week is probably The Matrix Resurrections, and it was absolutely dog shit. And I'm so upset because and this is coming from a guy who loves the trilogy. Like I think Reloaded and Resolutions it's Reloaded Resolutions, right? Revolution, sorry, are both good movies. I've always thought that. Always have loved the trilogy. So here's the thing: is that with the new movie, the ideas are really good. All the ideas are great. They're not executed greatly. The writing is poor. There's a scene where Neo, it's very meta, and I liked all the meta stuff. Yeah, it was very executed. And then John says, "Matrix snore erections." It did not give me.
Wait. Yeah. We're not gonna say snore erections, right? Snore erections. So so all the meta stuff was awesome. I love the meta stuff. Like I said, all the ideas are great. Neil Patrick Harris, surprisingly great villain. Was blown away. The actor who plays Morpheus is, guys, not to hate on that actor. I'm sure he's great in other stuff. Lawrence Fishburne cannot be fucking replaced. It's fucking Larry Fishburne. Come on, he's incredible. But yeah, I just was very, very disappointed. What's going on? So I fucked up. Me and this guy talk. Oh, we're just keep picking this. So me and Sean talk daily, and yesterday I was so out of it and just my mind was not working, and I called him Simon. So I apologize deeply. I love you, Sean. Please forgive me. But yeah, Matrix Resurrections. There's a scene where Neo is at a coffee shop or something like with another guy, and Trinity walks in, and the guy goes, "Look at her, she's a fucking MILF." Like they called Trinity a MILF, and I was like, and then Neo is pretty much just he just does this the whole movie. That's all he does. He just pushes shit. He doesn't. That's it. He just pushes shit. Trinity gets powers that I feel like are very undeserved, especially for how rushed it is.
Right.
But yeah, very disappointed.
What about Agent Smith?
So that's the thing is that it's again, you can't replace Hugo Weaving, but I think the guy who played Agent Smith in this movie did a much better job than I was expecting.
That was an actor that I really like. I'm trying to remember his name now.
Yeah, here. I'll just pull it up because I have it's Jonathan Groff.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, and he's actually pretty good. Like he actually does a good job. But again, he's not. And also the fighting. So here's the thing. I noticed that the fighting was edited poorly. Yeah, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. The fighting was terrible. And then I looked to make sure. I was like, man, did Yuen Ping work on this movie? Because he worked on the first three. He did not, and it was you could tell. You could tell. I also watched Cop Shop, which I enjoyed.
Nice.
Thought that was fun. I didn't know anything. It's what's his name? Carnegie or whatever. Carnahan. Joe Carnahan. I went in blind, and was pleasantly surprised. And then watched the Prodigy with Maggie Q and what's his name? Michael Keaton. And Aaron, this movie.
And by the way, it's the Protege.
The Protege. Sorry. This movie could not pick a tone. It could not tell what it wanted to go for. So in one scene, Maggie Q and Michael Keaton are sitting at a dinner table and they have guns pointing at each other underneath the table. And he says, he like starts hitting on her and she goes, her exact words were, "You have a gun pointed at my pussy and now you're trying to fuck me," which is fine if it's like, a comedy action movie. And then the next, like a few scenes later, they're literally fighting each other, trying to kill each other. And they do end up having sex. And then a few scenes later, you watch a flashback of her as a little girl watching her mother get decapitated. And they're holding her mother's head to her. And it's like, man, this tone was a wild, wild ride.
I really want to say this now. Well, not because I love Maggie Q either, but man, Nikita.
And I watched Armor of God. Just go through these two real quick. Controversial opinion. The set pieces are incredible in Armor of God. I think it's some of Jackie's best stunt work. The in-between stuff is very boring. And I watched Don't Look Up, the new movie by, what's his name? Adam McKay.
Yeah.
And I was leaving for the gym, and Taylor started the movie, and I go, "Oh, you're watching Don't Look Up?" I barely knew anything about it, just knew it was like a asteroid, and it had some famous people in it. And I sat down and I watched the entire fucking thing. I was still like putting my shoes on. I had like one shoe on and one shoe off, getting ready to go to the gym, and I watched the entire movie. Really good. I thought it was good.
Nice.
I could see people not liking it because it's very divisive, and I do think it's a little too on the nose with the satire. But overall, yeah, that's what I watched. I had a good week of watching. I mean, you guys don't want to hear about all the random fucking Shaw Brothers movies from 1960s that I watched.
Lone Wolf and Cub 6, yeah. So it was Christmas week this week, and I've got two young kids. So I ended up watching Home Alone 2 again for the first time in years. And I got to admit, I love that movie so much more than the first one. First one's obviously a way better film, but man, that second one has all the memories. Christmas with the Cranks, that just got a Blu-ray release for the first time. God, that movie is bad. I remember that movie being way better than it was, but yeah, that was awful. Aaron, I'm curious to see if you watched this. I watched Censor finally.
Not yet. I haven't got a chance to sit down and watch it, but I really want to.
Little hint, I will be talking about that later on tonight. But the big one, I kind of want Flip to come back for because we're going to have a conversation about it. But I also need to. So Food for Thought says, "Don't Look Up" beats out Venom 2 for worst film of the year. That's a big praise there.
Venom 2 should not be listed anywhere near the worst film of the year. I'm sorry, you haven't seen enough movies. Get out there. Because I've seen a lot worse movies this year.
Well, are they all 2021 releases? That could be what he's saying.
Still. Yeah. Because
That is man, what's going on? This is one. John Peters says he watched Benedetta. I can't wait to see that. Have you seen that one yet?
Dude, I work all day and I get off and I come here at my desk, and that's most of my time.
John says worst film of the year is Cruella. Ryan, okay, good. I appreciate that. We'll be talking about that in a little while. Ken Carlson, what's going on? Glad to see you. I'll just talk about the next one then, and hopefully flips back here soon in just a second. Hopefully, I don't think he has said hello yet, so I'm sure he'll be watching this on the rewatch. But I finally watched Old Henry. Have you seen this one yet, Aaron?
I have not.
So this is a 2021 film that it made some waves again a couple weeks ago because Barack Obama says it was one of his favorite films of the year. And it was freaking mind-blowing. Movie was great. It is set in the middle of Oklahoma in, I think it was 1906. Sounds like Cliff's about to be back finally. It is a guy basically kind of similar to the beginning of No Country for Old Men. We're talking about Old Henry now, Cliff.
Oh!
So the movie is great, really well acted. It stars Tim Blake Nelson, and he carries the film. Obviously, he is the guy, Coen Brothers regular. He did the new Netflix one that I never remember the name of. That's the one. And then he was also way back in the day. He was obviously in man, I'm exhausted. George Clooney, I'm a Man of Constant Sorrow. What is the name of it? Come on.
Where art thou?
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Yeah, he was great in that one.
I like to say, Paul Blart, where art thou?
But this is a story that takes a wild turn, and I don't really want to spoil the ending, but oh my gosh, there's a really great shootout at the end. There's some incredible acting. There is so many just really tense scenes throughout the film, and they set it up perfect. I don't want to go too much into it again because it's a brand new movie, so I know a lot of people still have yet to get to it, but genuinely one of the best of the year by like a long shot.
And also, it's based loosely on a real theory.
Correct.
Like it's. I mean, it could be real. Who knows? Who fucking knows?
Right.
But yeah, love that movie. I'm so glad you finally saw it.
I do want to share. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Flicking Waves mentioned one of my new Christmas favorites, End of the Apocalypse, which I've probably seen around 47 times.
That is a great movie. Genuinely great movie.
Should I give a health update real quick?
What I was about to share is you did get a comment right here from Flex.
Oh, thank you, Flex. So yeah, guys, they think maybe minor heart attack. I won't know until the 11th fully. I go in for a heart with a sonogram, stress test, all that stuff. There's COVID outbreak here, so hospitals are full, but I am feeling much better. I used to drink 6 to 8 Monsters a day. I have cut that out completely. I've had 0 since the incident. I feel a lot better. He also told me to because we did like a Zoom meeting, like a Zoom checkup. They did tell me to quit powerlifting. I need to focus on light weights, more reps, and do cardio. Because right now I am benching close to 400 pounds, and they're like, and I'm squatting and deadlifting a lot. And that's not a brag. That's just, it's bad on your body. And I'm not taking supplements. I'm not taking good care of myself, not good form. So they told me to quit that and to focus on cardio. So, but yeah, I worked out the last couple of days, just jogging, watching, a TV show, and I feel much better. But not funny enough, but my wife's brother, who has a pacemaker in his heart, did black out and is still in the ER. His heart stopped and almost died. So it's been a crazy week in the Paris household. Like
next step, we got to get you off that PCP.
You made water come out my nose, man.
Oh man.
But yeah, I'm feeling much better. They did tell me to not be so stressed, but business owner and a family, I don't know how they expect me to do that. Thank you, Ryan. But I did say fuck it, and I took Christmas through today off. So I had a nice 4-day break, did nothing but sleep. I went to the restaurant once to pick up some bottled water that we had in the fridge. I was like, fuck it, I'm not going in, not doing anything. I feel good.
All right. Shall we get started with some honorable mentions?
Yeah, who wants to go first?
I think tonight we'll go Aaron and then me and then you, if that's all right. Since I think we all decided before this, honorable mentions, we're not going to go real deep in because we're going to talk about the 20 each a lot, I'm sure. So if there's a little bit you want to say on each one, go right ahead.
All right. First, you know what other thing I did watch? I watched the first 3 episodes of Hawkeye. I haven't watched the rest of it yet, so don't spoil it. But I'm a huge Broadway musical fan. So Brian James Darcy was going to be in Hawkeye. I was like super excited. I'm like, Next to Normal is one of my favorite musicals of all time. And he originated the character of Dan. So I'm like, awesome, he's going to be in. And he's Kate Bishop's dad. And if you've seen it, you know what happens to Kate Bishop's dad in the first 3 minutes. So that's not even a spoiler. It's in the first 3 damn minutes. Not quite Hollywood. So I had the DVD of this mother for years. And I love this. Not only do I love this, I watch this over and over and over again. I love exploitation. I love this type of stuff.
I tried to reach mine. I love that one too.
When I found out that this was coming out on Blu-ray and extra Quentin Tarantino interview, hell yeah. So yes, if you've never seen this and you like documentaries and you like crazy shit, because we can say shit, right?
Of course.
Fuck, shit, cunt, cock.
Not quite Hollywood.
Racist.
It's insane and it's amazing. Mark Hartley did this. The guy did a ton of stuff, like the remake of Patrick and stuff. But this is really, really good. If you've never tried exploitation type of cinema, check this shit out. If you have tried exploitation cinema, still get this. This is one of the best documentaries you're going to see.
Yep.
And oh my God, this is the features. 9 hours of special features.
Damn.
So I want to start
That's
with
awesome. Okay. My first one, I'm not going to go too deep into because I talked about it last week a whole lot. Ticks and Vinegar Syndrome in 4K. Looks great. Super fun movie. Super just all out release.
My first honorable mention is the Years of Lead box set from Arrow. Love these sets of films, but there are only a couple that I am returning to, and it's pretty light on special features. So, yeah, enjoyable. Nice to see Eurocrime get a push like this, but not one of the top 20 in my opinion.
Easy pick.
Nice.
Excellent release. Excellent little film. And look at this.
I love the design.
That is
awesome.
And even put like a mock like computer ad on the back of it. It's incredible. So if you've never checked this out, this is Gunpowder in the Sky, and it's the first release I've ever picked up from them because I didn't get the one before. But holy crap, man!
By the way, the one before, very good.
I love that
their
movie.
releases this year have been.
Summer '84.
They have been killing it this year. My next one is one I've talked about a lot this year, so I'm not going to go real deep into it. But again, The Mothman Prophecies from Imprint. I love this film. Has never gotten real good Blu-ray love, and it's like a quiet thriller is the way I've called it. And it came out in a time where there was not a lot of horror, and it just broke through for me. Love this movie.
My next pick is Sailor Suit and Machine Gun. Honorable mention number 2. Absolutely enjoy this movie, but there's parts where it drags. It drags a lot, but the parts that are great are really great. Thank you so much, Sardis. That's awesome. I love hearing stuff like that. But yeah, great special features. 2 cuts of the movie. The extended cut is a lot longer than I expected, and the extended cut drags like a motherfucker. But overall, very solid release, and nice to see Arrow continuing Yakuza movies. So
the next couple are ones that I actually haven't got through yet, but I'm so excited to have them that they're on the damn list. So I couldn't officially put them on the official 20 list because I haven't got to watch them. But there's no way I could not get them somewhere in here. So throw them on my honorable mentions.
Detention.
Hell yeah! Like this has made some top 10 lists apparently, and that's incredible. And I cannot wait to sit down and check this out. And I would like to if I can find the game, would be nice too.
My number 3 is one that we spent a lot of time with on this channel this year. So again, I won't go too deep into it, but I love this release of A Tale of Two Sisters. Really high quality release. They really go deep into it, and this is outclasses all the previous releases. Just a solid package overall.
Yes. My next pick is New York Ninja. I think this movie is awesome. It's dumb. It's terrible. It's so much fun. The documentary, though, on the making of this is better than the actual movie. The documentary is worth the purchase, in my opinion. The packaging is just crazy. There's 3 different covers. I'm not going to get all of it. 3 covers for a movie that would have been lost to time. Vinegar Syndrome, I think, really won me over this year. Tiger Claws, TC2000, Ebola. Just I've loved their output this year.
The other one I haven't watched yet, but no ways that's not going on the list. It's the Ebola film. No, I'm just joking. That's nowhere near any of my list. For sale in the near future. But this one's not censored. So I have got to check it a little bit. I was going to watch this one tonight. Then I remembered, hey, I'm doing a video tonight. So this is so cool. It's packaged extremely well. The artwork inside the kind of the fake movie posters.
Isn't the same line that this is in?
Yeah,
yes.
PSP.
That's what I thought.
Actually, that was almost on my list, the New York Ninja, but I knew when you guys were going to put it down there. So that's why it's not on.
Well, the odd thing on these,
I
I don't know why for censor they changed up the packaging. It kind of irked me a little bit.
Did they? I see. I didn't know.
Yeah, the New York Ninja is the same as the VSU releases with the big magnetic glass box, and then censor has just the slip case where you pull out the slip cover.
I prefer this.
I do too. I just wish they were the same. Since they're going to be in the same line.
But I think because New York Ninja didn't need that extra packaging, I guess they're excited.
I don't think so, but they went all out.
But censor, man. It's got Band of Sadist videos documentary on there, which I have seen, and by the way, that's fantastic.
My number 2 or 4, whichever way we're counting these, is Blood for Dracula 4K from Severin. Severin has gotten a lot of love from me this year, and this movie was one of the main reasons. Really well done package. CD soundtrack, Blu-ray, 4K, tons of what is this? 4 hours of special features with the cast, crew, and more. It looks great in 4K.
It might show up again.
My next pick is Deadlock. This movie was just I haven't seen anybody classify this, but it's like an acid western. It's bizarre. It's out there. It does drag a little. You'll see a lot of these Pixar movies that I had a great time with, but they did drag a little. This movie is so weird. It's a western, but it's set in, I would say, somewhat modernish times. Very cool guns. The 4K is from Subculture, a partner label of Vinegar Syndrome. The 4K transfer looks great. The commentary, though, the director of this movie is very cocky and very arrogant. I don't know if you guys have watched the special features with him, but he is so full of himself. It's insane. Also, one of the best cocks I've ever seen in a movie. Would you agree, Ryan?
It's pretty impressive.
It's a nice cock. I was like, damn, look at that dude's schlong. That's nice. Good for him. The Germans.
I missed out on that one.
we were blessed this year with that, and then the Green Knight having the most realistic spunk on film ever.
Dude, what a great year for cum.
Last one there, Aaron. Trauma.
Almost made it to the list.
Who put that out?
Vinegar Syndrome. It's one of the good releases for for Black Friday. Actually, probably one of the better ones. But their best release for Black Friday, it's in my top 20. But this, I love this. A lot of people hate on this film for absolutely no reason because this is actually really good Argento. But I guess it was shot in North America, so. But yeah, this is still him kind of hitting on all cylinders. There's some people complain about some kind of the weird kind of timeline and the way things go. But to those people, I say, have you ever watched a fucking Argento movie before? They're all insane like this.
Yeah, sure.
But cool film and great cast too. Piper Laurie in this one being insane, and a small role for Brad Dourif, which I was really stoked to see.
My last honorable mention is one that has not gotten any love on any of these top lists from anybody, and I'm guilty of that too. They're not on my top 20. This is the one that I had to mention them, and that is Mondo Macabro and Hunting Ground is what really hit me this year. This movie is crazy. Haven't talked about it on this channel at all this year, so wanted to share. This one is pretty intense. Basically, some criminals follow somebody out into the middle of the countryside where she lives. They attack the family, try to rob her, and they kill the husband. And then the movie just takes off wild from there. And this one is great. There's a standard edition available now. Obviously, the red case is long gone. But Mondo Macabro had an intense, incredible year. And if you're into their style of films, this is a good one. Sylph was really good this year. Panic Beats, obviously, is a really good movie. That was a Blu-ray upgrade for one that they did before, just like Sylph. Just recently, we got The Laughing Woman, Succubus School of Death, Hiruko the Goblin from Tsukamoto. Mondo Macabro, just consistently one of the best labels out there by a long shot.
Almost was on my list, but honestly, I forgot that was this year. That's the only reason it's not on there.
This almost cracked my top 20, and if it wasn't, the reason why I put the camera down earlier is because I totally forgot my favorite blind watch this year. I had to run and go get it. But Dynasty, this movie... Guys, it's been such a good year for martial arts movies that we got 2 fucking 3D martial arts movies. Like, it could have been easily this or Revenge of the Shogun Women, both by the same director. This movie was a very fun experience. I think out of the 2 that are 3D, Revenge of the Shogun Women and this is a better movie. The story's fun. You can actually watch it without the 3D and still have a good time. But it comes with 3D glasses. You don't need a 3D TV. You don't need a 3D player. Just put it in, put the glasses on. Your eyes take a little bit to adjust, but once they do, it was one of the most fun I've had watching a film this year.
Do you have a 3D TV?
I don't.
I do.
That's
a great release in 3D, by the way.
No. You can watch this in 3D without a 3D TV.
Oh, no, like we did downstairs, but I watched it afterwards in 3D.
Oh, like a proper 3D?
That's one of the few that Kino bothered to send me this year. And the special features on it are fantastic, by the way.
Yes, they are.
3D comic book, horror comics, really cool.
Yeah, mine are in the credits for Revenge of the Shogun Women. Also, I mean, it's a Kino release, but really the praise needs to be sent out to 3D Film Archive. They're doing great work rescuing these movies and finding a way to play them in 3D without any 3D hardware. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, shout out to them. And that's my honorable mention. Now for the top 20, how are we doing this? Do you want to reverse it and go this way?
Sure, why not?
So do you want to go first, Ryan?
That's not reversing it.
Okay, well, fine, whatever. I'll go first, and then we can go. Aaron, you?
Sure, that's fine.
Out of all the Eurocrime movies that came out this year, which was a lot of great movies that came out this year, the one movie that has stuck with me the most as being the best is probably Freehand for a Tough Cop. This is Fracture Vision's third release. They put out Silent Action and then Lose. Didn't pick that one up, but Silent Action was DNR'd. The transfer wasn't that great. Transfer on this looks amazing, and they really went all out on this. It's just incredible. A lot of fun, very violent, very toxic masculinity, and I love it for it. This is my number 20, and again, this almost made honorable mentions. Like, it was a toss-up between, but this cracked the top 20. So Freehand for a Tough Cop by Fracture Visions. It's a UK release, but it is region free. So check it out.
All right. So number 20. So before I go off with the top 20, the Pynn household was hit hard this year financially. So there's a lot of releases that are big ones that I just wasn't able to get. But from car issues to cat issues to all that stuff. But with that being said, I wanted to stick with like 20 that I had, and that gave me like super utter joy. And for number 20, nothing gives me more joy than my childhood and the Ultraman releases this year. I fucking love Ultraman. Like, if anybody watches my channel, they know this. I love the hell out of Ultraman. And I'm so excited these are coming out. I can't wait till Kamen Rider comes out. But what was really super cool is they put out the anime.
Yep, by Sunrise Studios, the guys who did Gundam.
I was super excited because I did not think, I thought they passed this one up because I said, okay, it's animated, they'll pass over it, but they didn't. And I was like, hell yeah. So Ultraman, in general, the 2021 releases of Ultraman, I've sat down when I've been like kind of down and stuff and just sat down and started watching him and just like, I'm good.
Out of all the Tokusatsu franchises, because the big three are Sentai, Kamen Rider, and then Ultraman, the amount of work and creativity that they put into like the miniatures and the monster design and then the battles are just mind-blowing, insane. And Aaron, if you're a fan of Kamen Rider, maybe we'll talk off air, but there's a couple Kamen Rider releases coming that I know about that are just going to blow people's socks off.
I'm super stoked for Kamen Rider, and honestly, my oldest, she is a Kamen Rider fanatic.
It's so much fun. It's one of the only shows that I still weekly watch the new ones. I'm still up to date.
You have any info on this one there, Aaron?
Yeah. From what I can tell, and from what I know from it's kind of inside baseball stuff, Mill Creek did not pay for the masters. Some of them don't have Blu-ray, so they got the core releases, like the core older Ultraman stuff out of the way, and it was all uniformed and nice. And then they're kind of going for a uniform look for the rest of them, and they just decided to go ahead and do DVDs. So,
I didn't have the choice actually.
Yeah, I mean, and it could also be Japanese companies are, especially with Tokusatsu and anime, are notoriously difficult to work with.
And expensive.
That stuff. I mean, I know, for instance, Kamen Rider is the second biggest. It's the second biggest property for Toei, and behind One Piece, and then it's right in front of Dragon Ball. Yes, Media Blasters is releasing a box set of 3 movies, just the movies. And what I know is that they used to price Kamen Rider episodes at $1 million per episode. That's why they were never licensed. Luckily, Subaraya did an amazing deal with Mill Creek as a whole, like pretty much the entire property. We even got Gridman, and like Aaron was saying, we got the anime from Sunrise, which is great. So they were able to work out a deal, and I think that, and they're selling relatively well. So I think it's kind of opened the eyes to companies like Toei to be like, well, shit, we're losing money here. And Toei's trying to make Kamen Rider work in the US with like Dragon Knight. That didn't work. Like, instead of just like trying to adapt TV shows, they need to just put this out. And 01 by Shout Factory sold out of its first print run in 24 hours. Like, that's how hungry Kamen Rider fans are here. Kamen Rider 01 is getting released by Shout, and it's including the movie, but there's actually 3 movies. So we're just getting one. I think one of the movies is a crossover with one of the Sentai movies. And Hasbro has the rights to Power Rangers, which is what they use the footage from Sentai. So that's probably never going to get released, but at least we're getting 01, which is a great entry point too. If you guys want a good Kamen Rider series, it's a perfectly good entry point. It's the newest one that I've absolutely loved. They've been kind of rocky the last couple ones, but 01 was amazing. It came out before the pandemic. I think I finished it the last day I was at a gym before COVID hit. I was like on the treadmill watching it, and great show. Lots of good action, lots of good suit design. It's awesome. I can still hear in my head 01, 01, 01 from the opening. But yeah, next year's going to be great for Tokusatsu.
So Aaron's number 20 is Flip talking about Kamen Rider. Got it.
Hey, whatever, Ryan.
My number 20 is pretty obvious. Exactly for me. This is the Babadook in 4K from Second Sight. I love this movie. This is one that if you've got any sort of relation to a child with special needs, this movie hits a lot closer to home for you. This release is amazing, and I love Second Sight for what they're doing. This is a book, and it's hardcover, and it's huge. I mean, there is so much information in their books. It is wild. It's exactly. This is in 4K, so it's an upgrade over everything that has been released in the past. We've got art cards in here. Really nice set. Even everything that they due for the discs is decent shape in a box set like that. It's none of the little cardboard sleeves. It's nice. I have talked about Second Sight a ton, and for good reason. I think that they are turning into one of the most consistent labels by a long shot for their limited edition releases. The only real issue is that they only put out one title a month, but they put a ton of money into them. So I get it. I get why it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy to license those, to put them together. Not to mention all of the supply chain issues this year. So can't really fault them for that. But they had a killer year, and that won't be the last time I talk about them tonight.
Ooh, I think I know what the other one's going to be. My favorite blind buy of the year, Deep Cover. Just love this fucking movie, man. This movie is incredible. This is back when Lawrence Fishburne was going by Larry, and it's just him and what's his name, Goldblum, just absolutely kill it in this movie. It's a crime movie, police corruption. It's a thriller, a lot of good action set pieces, but it's more pulled back. It's more restrained. It's less violent than King of New York, but man, during this time, like this came out what, 92. During the time that this movie came out, there were so many good, just black cinema coming out. Menace to Society, Juice, even King of New York is a black movie. I would say even Bad Lieutenant with Harvey Keitel is a black movie because that soundtrack is just enriched in hip hop. It's just incredible. Love this movie. Highly recommend you pick it up. I gotta say though, this is my favorite poster Criterion has done in a long time. It's
really nice.
Right here. It's so good. Absolutely love this movie. And again, I bought it. I think their sale in the summer, right? I think it's when this came out around that time. Picked it up for $20, and I came home and I was like, I'll watch it, I guess. And I put it on and was just like, holy shit, this movie's amazing. So
that's one you told me about immediately because it hit you so hard.
Just love it. And I've seen it probably 5 or 10 times since. I really love this movie.
The only thing it's missing is it doesn't fold out 4 ways.
And then, of course, no commentary because it's Criterion.
Wait, is there really not a commentary?
No commentary.
You motherfuckers. But there's an essay.
Okay, I'm going to get this one out of the way because it was mentioned in the
Blood for Dracula, number 19.
Paul Morrissey's Blood for Dracula, because I'll say it right. Because Warhol had very little to do with this man.
That's true.
So put his name on it. This is fantastic. The soundtrack is incredible. Sat down and watched it with my cousin Raj, and man, we were hypnotized the entire time. I hadn't seen this since I saw it in the theater back in the day. I had to sign a retro theater. I'm not that old, but it was such a cool release. I've forgotten how good it was. I remembered Flesh for Frankenstein and how much I loved that one, but I forgot how good this movie was and how well it plays out. I expected it to go slower, but it didn't. It actually had a pretty cool pace to it, and the girls were cute too. That always helps. But no, I really enjoyed this. It's a great package. There's a ton of features on here. And if you don't have it in your collection and you're collecting movies, see this? This should be in your collection. So have that along with Flesh for Frankenstein, which is not on my list this year.
And that is getting released widely. I did put the link for that above in the chat if you don't have it yet. Comes out in January or February, I think. Wow, we're really on number 19, and that's it. So my number 19.
38 minutes in.
Love it. My number 19, I'm trying to see. Okay, I've got a couple left. So this isn't my last one from this company. Arrow Video. They had a really great year, but not a lot of things that hit me personally. And one that actually a handful of these are because I watched them the week I had surgery. So I was like foggy brained, rewatching a couple movies. And one of these really hit me hard that week. And that is Switchblade Sisters. And I love this movie. It is so much fun. Everything in this is just great. It is action packed. It is something that is, it's weird because it's kind of surreal. It's this weird, like, make believe nothing about this could ever possibly happen the way it's happening, but it's done in a realistic sense. In that sense, it reminded me a lot of Massacre at Central High, kind of from Synapse. Kind of similar tone in that way. and it's just a really good movie. And special features on here, really good. We got Sam Deegan and Kat Ellinger, and they are up there with Frank Chang as the best commentators. And yeah, they just genuinely really good. The only thing I will say, I was going to bring this up. Thanks, Sean. It is missing the Tarantino commentary, but there are other ways to get that. So, yeah, this is a great release, and this one kind of flew under the radar for a lot of people. So, if you don't have it, give it a watch, please.
I was actually I watched that movie and didn't like it at first, and I gave it another shot and thoroughly enjoyed it, especially that like last 30 minutes where shit just kind of goes haywire. It's a lot of fun. My number, are we at 18 now?
Yes.
My number 18 is
18? Yeah. Well.
True Romance by Arrow Video, 4K release. This movie, directed by Tony Scott, written by Quentin Tarantino, famously, has so much character and charm. You have Gary Oldman playing I feel like and I've said this before, but I feel like if anyone else played, is it White Boy Rick? Isn't that what they call him? Or it's White Boy Day, right? Isn't that what he says in the movie? Feeling like it's White Boy Day. If anybody else played that character, it would have been awful. But Gary Oldman fucking devours the scenery in this. Dennis Hopper and why am I blanking? Why can't I? Christopher Walken have a showdown, but it's with words, and it's one of the only movies, and my family's from Sicily, so when Sicily gets represented in anything, there's only a few times I can really think of when Sicily's represented. It's in that movie, True Romance, and when Lil Wayne says Sicilian bitch with long hair. So that's, and that automatically just makes me happy because Sicily automatically gets lumped into Italy, but it's got its own culture. And what they talk about is somewhat true. That actually happened in Sicily. But just such a awesome scene where he goes, "You're an eggplant." And then Christopher Walken goes, "You're a cantaloupe." And then just boom, just shoots him. Great release. I have a Blu-ray of this, and I think when Django first came out, they released like that 7-film box set of Quentin Tarantino, and it looks so much better. So much better. And my wife doesn't usually like crime movies, and she was invested in this movie and loved the characters. I think Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette look hot as fuck in this movie. Brad Pitt playing a stoner is hilarious. And you even got Tony Soprano in here as well. See, I'm forgetting things. Medication is making me forget. What's his name? James Gandolfini. Yeah, man, dude, he's one of my favorite actors, and I can't think. But yeah, absolutely love that movie. Highly recommend it.
Me?
Yep, your turn.
Oh yeah, well, you can't not have Franco on this list. I'm sorry, we don't do that.
James Franco?
Oh hell no. Yes, Franco.
Oh, you mean Dave?
No, Dave Franco.
The House of Lost Women. So right up there with Bahia Blanca. This is one of the better done Jess Franco ones. I know some people put on the Franco Noir, which is great stuff, but I don't own that. But I do own this, and this is really well done. It's really well shot. Don't put on Run the Kitties. I'll tell you that much right now. It's a Jess Franco film, but it's definitely kind of, as far as the Franco plots go and the way that it's done, I like it a lot. There's a lot to like about this one.
What nationality is Franco?
Franco.
He's Spanish, I believe.
Yeah, Spanish.
So he's just Spanish Takashi Miike? With how many movies he put out?
If that's all you're limiting Takashi Miike to mean, yeah.
I mean, in this sense, yes.
Yes.
Wait, didn't Franco do 200 movies or something?
I think he's at 172.
Yeah.
Is he
He
dead?
had a lot of them. He was.
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, amazing director.
Oh, he's dead.
He basically lived his life with a cigarette in his mouth 24/7.
Okay, well, what age did he die at?
A lot older than I am. So,
but imagine
and you had a mini heart attack last week.
He made 172 films. Lena Romay, was his better half for the longest period of time. Lived around so many amazing, beautiful women and lived in such beautiful areas. So if we can live half that long and have the life that Jess Franco had, we're lucky people, man.
I need to start smoking.
I need to start like smoking or doing something.
Oh no, you're already getting there. Last week proved that. So
Next week I'm gonna be going. Hey guys, you want to do top
my top 5 from Sergio Corbucci.
the best kung fu movies of the year?
Okay, so my number 18, I have talked all about for way too long. Flip even showed his copy last week, and that is Siege. I adore this movie. The only problem, this release kind of sucks. They don't have much on here. There is a commentary. There's the movie, and that's it. It is really light, but the movie is genuinely worth being on this list because the movie is incredible. Super timely film, really worth checking out. One of the best acted films, and genuinely, I think, like, top 3 best films Severin has ever put out.
You too, Ryan. You have a good one, buddy. Ryan saying good night.
Yeah, man.
Have a good one. Man, so my next pick is, I think, the best Jackie Chan release that will ever be, and that is The Young Master by 88 Films. This is, I think, the first movie Jackie Chan directed, and loads of great features. This book, by the way, like, we're talking about great books. Just look at this. The info.
Film school.
That's a sexy release, man.
It's an amazing release. My favorite Kung Fu Bob art right here. I just love how menacing these two look. It starts off with a really cool dragon dance, and it just ends in one of the greatest fights, top 20 fights of all time for Kung Fu movies. Packaging is great, and nice hard case with wraparound art. Look at this. The art is just incredible. I do think Armor of God has maybe slightly more content, but in the book they talk about Jackie Chan video games, and I feel like this book was a lot heavily more focused on that film and Jackie Chan's career as a director. So I would say this is probably my favorite Jackie Chan release of the year. I could have picked Snake and the Eagle Shadow because I think that's a very fun film as well. Kung Fu Bob O'Brien he's an incredible artist. Any of the 88 Films releases, he does the artwork. Pretty much all the 88 martial arts movies, he does the artwork. He's doing all these Shaw Brothers slip covers that are coming out from 88 and Region A.
He also did New York Ninja.
He did the inside artwork for New York Ninja. He did the cover for the Lone Wolf and Cub book that Arrow put out. He's done a bunch of stuff.
He has a very recognizable style.
Very recognizable style. Like, I mean, look how cool this is just incredible. Just awesome. He's awesome. He's a very nice guy as well. Incredibly nice guy. But yeah, Kung Fu Bob's awesome. And there is a standard release of this. So if you missed out, there's a standard with a slipcover, I believe. Pick it up. It's a must-own. Yep.
By the way, if you love the Kung Fu Bob artwork, you can reach out to him and do some commissions.
Yes, I think he charges $1,000, which honestly, not bad for what you're getting.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Aaron. Nice.
I said when this was announced that this was the sleeper hit of Black Friday. I watched it. I 110% stand by this. For me, this was the most entertaining film of all the Black Friday releases. That includes Fresh Frankenstein and Trauma, which I love. But this is fun. This is really well done. You're going to watch this movie, and every 5 minutes, an actor is going to come on the screen, and you're going to say, "Oh, what's his name from that thing?" Because absolutely everybody in this movie is known. You will know almost every actor in this film, from like people with tiny roles to the lead villain, but who is in Fringe, right? Yeah, he was the observer in Fringe, but he's bald when he's in Fringe. But really good film. It is a very different style, kind of a rape revenge sci-fi, like android style film. The neat thing to do about this is they focus on exploitation, but not that exploitation of it. So it literally starts out where the trial is. Like, so you're not, so you can pretty much watch this one. This is not a spit in your grave. None of those scenes are in there. And they focus more on like the afterwards. And you got an android that can change faces, and have big drills coming out of her chest. It is so cool. This is such a cool release. I will watch this again, probably this year, actually. I love this film.
You only have like 2 days left of the year.
I know.
3 days left of the year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I still would probably watch this again.
All right. That means I'm up. Number 17 is one. Again, I've talked about it a lot on the channel this year, and Flip showed his copy last week. Perdita Durango in 4K from Severin. Speaking of not showing I Spit on Your Grave scenes, this movie has like 4 sexual assaults in it.
Favorite.
But genuinely, weird to say after that sentence, but this is such a fun movie. This is it genuinely is, and that's only because
was fun.
well, we'll talk about that one later. This is a tone of a film that is just so well done throughout, and the fact that it's tied into David Lynch's Wild at Heart makes it such a winner. I love this movie. I love the acting in it. Javier Bardem is just mind-blowing in this. And then you talked about him earlier. James Gandolfini's in this one as well.
Yeah,
and,
he was fun. Young Gandolfini.
Just so well done. The Blu-ray on this has all kinds of special features. We got commentary. We've got interviews with a whole bunch of people involved. And then the big one, I was a big fan of the Shockwaves podcast for a long time. And then they are doing a new podcast, of course. But Rebecca McHenry's on here talking about this one. So just overall great. And I think, if I'm remembering right, this, I think, was Severin's first 4K release. This and the other De La Iglesia release.
Day of the Beast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rebecca McHenry's on that one too?
She might be, but yeah, I think these are their first 4K releases.
That was like one of my crushes back in the day. Like, she used to work for Fangoria magazine.
And she still does. So, yeah, great release.
What are we on? 17?
16 for you.
16. My 16th favorite release, my first box set in this list, is Collaborations, the cinema of Zhang Yimou and Gong Li. I think out of the more art house releases of Asian cinema, this beats out Wong Kar-wai as a release. I think Wong Kar-wai is a slightly better director, but the packaging, the masters on that release just maybe I could not put it on and act like I loved it. But the masters here look incredible, especially Curse of the Golden Flower looks amazing. Red Sorghum, Judo, Raise the Red Lantern, which is amazing. Eric, the Asian movie enthusiast, was really kind of championing Raise the Red Lantern, and I completely agree. The story of Kwai Ju, To Live, Shanghai Triad, which is awesome. I think Film Movement put that out a couple years ago. I've seen it and have it. Curse of Golden Flower and Coming Home. Great release. My first imprint release, and I really like the top loader box with all the movies right there. The book is a little disappointing because it's just pictures, pretty much just posters of some of the stuff, but yeah, really solid release. Not that many special features on the movies, but happy with it overall. So shout out to Imprint.
Life. Oh man, their releases look so sexy, man.
No, I do not. No, I do not like Art House. I just like Asians.
The next one's personal for a couple reasons.
Okay.
So
that's a great release.
My grandmother loved Randolph Scott. Like, this was one of her favorites. Randolph Scott and Glenn Ford were two of her favorites. Actually, my dad, his name is Glenn. He was named after Glenn Ford, even spelled the same way.
Really?
This was a favorite of hers. My mom told me that my grandmother loved Randolph Scott, and me and my cousin sat down. We watched these around 3 or 4 of them in a row, just back to back, and they were so good. Like, I thought, okay, I like the Boddicker stuff, but how's the other stuff going to be? Good, like really freaking good, especially the one with Angela Lansbury. That was a cool one. But yeah, I love Westerns. So when this came out, I was excited. I didn't think I was going to get it come, but it did. And it had that cool, like, booklet. And I just love the way these booklets are done with the posters.
The original art, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's super cool. They did this for the Hammer one too last year, and that was one that I watched like I think in 3 nights. But yeah, I got through this one around like I watched a couple of these twice actually. So that's why I don't get through films, guys. I watch films more than once.
Ryan, before you go, I have to point out something. The Zatoichi box set right now. Okay, I'm sharing the link in chat here. The Zatoichi box set, if you click the coupon, is only $107.99 at checkout, which is lower than 50%. This is the absolute must-own release. I think the best box set Criterion's ever done. 25 amazing films, and it boils down to $4 a movie. So pick that up if you guys have been waiting to pull the trigger. I think that's the perfect time.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy inexpensive.
That's in my glass case.
It's right.
All right, so number 16.
Yep.
Shiva Baby.
Yes. I couldn't find my copy, or it would be right there. I love this movie, and she is adorable.
She is, and genuinely one of the most entertaining movies of the year. The film is odd because it is tense throughout, and one of the things that I talked about on one of my videos this week on my channel is that this takes genuinely, it sounds like they ripped music cues from Get Out and Us from Jordan Peele, and it's not a horror film whatsoever. It's like an awkward dramedy, and it uses that music to really ramp up the tension, and it's done so well. And then the extras on this just go above and beyond. This is one of the best releases of the year by like a long shot. One of the best new films that I discovered this year, and this is Utopia, one of the partner labels from Vinegar Syndrome. Easily one of the best.
Yeah, and it's a dramedy shot like a horror film.
Exactly.
And if anybody's out there, you ever had anxiety attacks? What a perfect movie for that, to give you a little, like, the feel of that, because there's a sequence in there where she really has this big anxiety attack in the film, and I could relate, actually. Also, still again, she's gorgeous, and she's a stand-up comedian. Love her in that film, and I want to see more. I want to see more from that director, more from her, and Utopia's a great label.
Her ex-boyfriend is he's on a podcast I listen to called Come Town. And his name's Stavro Halkias. He's also a comedian, hilarious, fellow fat Mediterranean man. So I want to give him a shout out. My next favorite release is Full Alert by Ringo Lam, put out by Eureka. This movie, out of all the Eureka Asian stuff, I was not looking forward to the most, but it's the one that I went in blind and had the most impact on. It's a great cop action movie. I think it showcases Hong Kong better than I would say even like PTU and Throwdown. I watched those two movies and thought, they really showed the city of Hong Kong, but that movie does it even better in my opinion. Ringo Lam is slowly working his way to one of my favorite directors of all time. Just phenomenal. Have any of you guys seen Full Alert?
Not yet.
Not yet. There's an excellent car chase in it. There is of course great commentary by Frank Jang, and there is an actual commentary by Ringo Lam himself, which is awesome to hear a director talk about his own movie. So, yeah, that's Full Alert. What's my favorite Ringo Lam film? Probably Full Alert.
All right, you're next. Another release only I will put in there, but yes. I love me some Doctor Who, and shame on people that don't. Watch your Doctor Who, man. New season was amazing. But this here is John Pertwee, second series, first one with the Master, so Roger Delgado. Ton of great stuff on this. From Terror of the Autons, Mind of Evil, The Cause of Access, Colony in Space, and The Daemons, which is probably one of the best classic Doctor Who serials, like bar none. And if you've never picked up any of these releases, why not? Get some classic Doctor Who. The features are insane. There are an insane amount of features on these here. Eric, you're cool, man. This is a great release, and they've been killing it with releases. I like to get the UK releases. I've only got a couple of those. They're like loaded with like books and like big box sets and stuff. But yeah, I've been trying not to miss any Doctor release that comes out this year, and every time one comes out, at least one of them is going to make my best of list.
All right. So my number 15 is going to be a little bit of an odd one. So I'm putting Censor at number 15. And the reason it's odd is because I didn't love the movie. It was only okay. I'm going to read what I wrote because I watched this last night. I said it's well directed and superbly acted, but the story is from a poor script, sadly. I enjoyed many of the scenes themselves, but the movie as a whole is just lacking something. The story isn't fleshed out enough to make me truly care about the characters. The lighting is superb, and it was refreshing to see a modern film shot on 35 millimeter. Love the practical effects and the video nasty skeleton, but there was just not enough meat on the bones to make the amazing film I wanted it to be. That being said, the release is superb. The extras on this, my wife fell asleep literally about 40 minutes into this movie because she is an old lady at heart. And I watched the entire movie and then stayed up and watched almost all of the extras just in one go because they were that engaging. The biggest thing, first of all, I've talked about Severin a lot tonight, and I'm not done talking about them. But even here on a Vinegar Syndrome release, one of the best parts is just listening to David Gregory blabber about video nasties for 35 minutes and talk about how amazing the art is on Night of the Demon and stuff like that. It's fantastic. A lot of the ideas behind this was really cool, but this release itself is great primarily because of everything you get on the disc. Not to mention everything Aaron showed earlier. Just superb with this. There's so many different styles of art. This, obviously, it looks odd because it's not the movie itself, but you'll understand later. It makes sense.
Is it like shows that are on TV?
Not necessarily. It is basically other video nasties in their world that she is being forced to watch, and it's a tragic story, but it's genuinely the specials are the special features, just like Jeff says here, are better than the feature, but they are worth, like, even without the movie on here, it would be worth what I paid for this release.
Damn. Well, my next pick is the final Criterion release in my collection because they are a fucking terrible company and they put out absolute fucking dog shit. They have gone downhill, and this release, as much as the only reason why I'm picking this release is because I love the movies and the special features are good. But that's the Once Upon a Time in China box set. The transfers are not as good as the Eureka release, and the subtitles are dumbed down. They're not as good as the Eureka release. Someone on Twitter, if I can find it during this, I will share it in the chat, but someone on Twitter did a comparison of the encoding, the transfer of both releases, and the subtitles, and the Eureka one is more of a direct translation, and it has more context of what's happening in the story, and the Criterion one, because they are a dumb company, dumbed down the subtitles because they're dumb. And they think and the people who follow Criterion blindly are dumb. So, yeah, I still am glad to have it though, and it's nice to have all the movies because the Eureka release is only 3. So, yeah, Criterion sucks.
Fantastic. I forgot my movie, so I had to go get it. But this is kind of a cheat. This is a twofer, but it's by the same director. And this gave me the most joy. I think just utter joy out of anything I watched this year. Who has this? This is Malcolm, and this is The Big Steal.
I have those ordered. I've not gotten them in yet.
Oh, man. They're so freaking good. I had seen this a long time ago. I didn't remember it very well, The Big Steal. I hadn't seen Malcolm. And I was told, like Brian from Just the Disc, Brian Sauer, had said to me, this is like, Malcolm's such a good release. I'm like, it sounds okay, but I'm not sure. So we sat down to watch it. And holy crap. Like, totally fell in love with the movie. Like, it's a movie that could be like almost like looks like it could be a family movie, but the cursing and nudity kind of like stops that. It's a heist film. So Malcolm is this kind of maybe a kind of a savant, I guess. So he's not exactly the best when it comes to people, but he's great when it comes to machines. And he loves the tram. And he gets involved with this guy who just got out of jail. and his girlfriend, who are fantastic in this film. And basically, they do a heist. They do this heist on this bank, and they do it with things that he's made, with like robots and stuff that he's made. It's super cool. And the director followed it up with the big steal. That's a very young Ben Mendelsohn there, for those that remember the actor. Of course, he was, the Skrull in Captain Marvel. But fantastic film. This girl here looks so much like a young Jennifer Connelly, actually. But again, another good release. And in this one here, it's another one, like, not a heist film, but basically he likes this car. He kind of falls in love with this car. He's a real big car person. He wants to impress this girl, goes on a date with her. So he trades in his family car that his dad has given him, breaks his dad's heart, and gets this car, which is utterly junk. So he has to go back and steal back his car. And it is so good. It is so fucking good. Like, there is nothing in this that is not utterly excitingly joyful to watch. So you'll like them. Trust me, Ryan. You're going to like them.
Good. So we're on number 14. And this is one, again, I just talked about recently on here. And that is Psycho Gorman, specifically the Canadian Hunky Boy edition. This movie rules, and there are so many special features on this. We got 3 different commentary tracks, behind-the-scenes featurettes on the FX shop, the Paladin fight, the PG versus Pandora, the miniatures they used in this. There are interviews with the director and a few others, trailers, full soundtrack CD, and more. Plus, it came with trading cards and a whole bunch of just extra random stuff. Not to mention, the movie's really good. And it's genuinely a contemporary cult classic. And just to show the inside, because it is one of the best put together releases as well from Raven Banner. They have the trading cards in there, and then they have a card for other merch for Psycho Gorman. It's just such a great release.
We do sexy releases, man.
Remember
the editor release from a few years back?
Remember which one?
The editor release from a few years back, the Canadian version. So much better.
This year, the cover art on the Autopsy of Jane Doe from Raven Banner. Did you see that one?
Not yet. No, I gotta check it out though.
While Flip's talking, I'll get it and I'll show you.
Speaking of sexy releases, probably the sexiest movie ever made. Can you guys guess?
Sexiest movie ever made.
Sexiest movie ever made.
No.
Ricky O, the story of Ricky. An incredible Christian movie, good family fun. Out of all the Category 3 stuff that 88 put out, which, the other ones they did amazing releases of, this is the one that I really love. I love Ricky O. It's based on a manga. And it has a sequel that's an anime, or technically an OVA, but this movie is so insane. It's got 4 commentaries on this freaking thing. Just blows it out of the And the book is called Caged Fury, and they're so, again, for a movie that is what this movie is, so much content in this book for a movie that is what this is. Like, it's so insane. But this movie inspired Mortal Kombat. The fatalities in Mortal Kombat were inspired by Ricky O. Liu Kang was inspired by the character of Ricky. But the tagline of this book is so dramatic, and I have to read it in a dramatic voice. It was the rage that kept him alive. It was the courage that set him free. Awesome release. And again, Frank pointed out some stuff to us last night, where he's talking about, like, this movie has a lot of, like, religious iconography to it, and it's not a religious movie, even though I said it's a good Christian film. It's great. It's only like 92 minutes. 92 minutes on the dot. Great special features. And again, we're talking about Kung Fu Bob earlier. Just incredible Kung Fu Bob art. Like, this happens in the movie. Punches the dude's head off. Great release from 88. Probably my favorite 88 release of the year, hands down.
Unlike Ebola syndrome, you'll enjoy yourself when you watch Ricky O.
You don't like it?
Aaron is on such a
That's one of my favorites, man.
Okay.
Fantastic release.
Whoa!
Could not miss on this one. We got Joe Spinell, who, You gotta love some Joe Spinell, man. Robert Forster, Nancy Kwan. It's Robert Forster's movie. It really is. A. Martinez, if you're a Santa Barbara fan from those soap opera days. Cruz Castillo has a good role in here. So this is a really good film. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was actually better than I thought it was going to be. And from beginning to end, man, I was engaged. I love this one here. I really like the fact that Nancy Kwan, she's the director's wife. So she's not doing nudity, man, for this movie. So they put in this like random bartender girl for the prerequisite nude scene. And I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. But really good film. Again, this is Fun City Editions. Amazing stuff. Love their stuff.
Ryan told me that was a flip movie, and he was absolutely correct. Good movie.
I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I have a handful of people that have gone to me for recommendations over the last couple of years, and I don't think I've ever had anybody say, you recommended me this, and I hated it. So I am so stoked that I can genuinely tell what most people like. Now that he's backed away, this is a good time to show this. So I have to cover up something specifically. So this is the autopsy of Jane Doe. This is the slipcover. Now watch, as I take this out, watch how they show the inside. And she is splayed open.
That is cool, man.
And then on the back, I'll hide the nips again. They have her in the body bag here. But the back of the slip is actually some really good art made just for this release as well. Raven Banner has been doing some really good stuff.
Show the nipples.
Did they put out the Season's Grieving edition like years ago?
Nipples, dude.
I'm not sure on that one.
Because that was one hell of a release with the mini Rue Morgue magazine and everything.
Which one are we on?
That's true. 20,
12?
18, 15, 16, 14.
We're on 14?
14.
No way. Really?
Oh, man. Yeah, sadly. So my number 14 is one that we have. I kind of figured Flip was going to be talking about Eureka a lot. I also figured I was going to be talking about Severin a lot. So I went with what I think is the much better release of this movie, even though this is coming out in the folk horror box set. So this is the Eureka release, the Masters of Cinema line of V. V is
my number one.
No, it wasn't. This is an incredible horror movie. That's why it wasn't your number one. That is so great. The movie is good, and then the last 10 minutes really makes it an amazing movie. It takes it from like a 5 out of 10 to like an 8.5 out of 10. But the big thing is if you have the 7 release of this, you are missing genuinely a lot of stuff. So the limited edition bonus disc on this has the worldwide Blu-ray debut of the director. I can't speak. I think he's Russian or Romanian on this one. The worldwide Blu-ray debut of director Dorde Kadajevich Svetomesto, A Holy Place, presented in 1080p from a scan of the original film element supplied by Radio Television of Serbia, and available for the first time ever in the UK. New and exclusive interview with the director, and there's still all kinds of other special features. This thing is loaded. Really great release, and again, it's because it's the Masters of Cinema line. They go all out. So it's got a nice booklet. It's got 2 discs. It's got the nice slipcover that goes with it. Eureka is just amazing, obviously, but even the folk horror box set is missing some of the stuff that is in this package. So if you really want to go all in, this is a release to get.
That's in the folk horror box set?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
And Severin did put out a regular Blu-ray edition of V before this.
Didn't Criterion put that out, or am I high?
No, you are high.
Okay. Well, number 13, Italy's lucky number. I'm not going to pick an Italian film. I'm going to pick a Japanese box set. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to pick some Italian films. The Sabata trilogy by Eureka. Absolute gem of a series. 3 spaghetti westerns. All standalone. You don't have to watch them in order. The first one features Lee Van Cleef. Second one features Yul Brynner. And then Lee Van Cleef comes back for the third. I remember back when I was picking these up when Kino put them out, I hated the Yul Brynner movie for some reason. But when like this came out, I went in and watched it again, and just I absolutely love the second one now. I think Yul Brynner steals the show. He's very beautiful, chest hair, chiseled jawline, just looks awesome. And what the Kino release is missing compared to these is amazing load of special features. You get for the original Sabata, you get Kim Newman on commentary. You got Mike Siegel in the sequel, and then for the third one, you get C. Courtney Joyner and Henry Park. New video pieces on each film, and you get a pretty good book and poster. So yeah, one of the best releases for Westerns this year. I think overall it was a great year for spaghetti Westerns. In any other year, this would have been number one, but there was just so many good releases.
Not in 2021.
Not in 2021. I mean, again, reversible art, so you can have a couple of the artworks for the other ones, and every movie is on its own disc. So you get a disc for each movie. There's no compression or anything. Great book filled with good information. I mean, again, look at this book. I mean, we like to praise companies when they do like the nice book and the collector's editions, but just the standard book that comes with this version is just, look at this, just loaded with information for these movies. The gimmick with the Sabata trilogy is a little bit of gambling, a little bit of weapons that have a gimmick to them. A lot of fun, lots and lots of fun. And of course, it's fucking Lee Van Cleef. If you don't like Lee Van Cleef, then I don't like you.
For a couple.
So you gotta not have a soul, not to have fun with the next movie.
Yeah.
Jean-Claude. This, oh my God, what a freaking release. So the M. Bison, like the portrait they're painting, is literally the back of that. But what is awesome? What freaking rocks, which I did not know was going to be in here.
The Bison Bucks.
The Bison Buck. Holy crap, man. This is so freaking cool. I kind of let out a squeal when I opened this up because I did not know what would come down.
That's so
I'm a huge fan of this film. I'm a huge fan of the Street Fighter franchise in general. But this is cheesy fun. And, you got to love Street Fighter. You really do.
Can we talk about Kylie Minogue in that movie for a second? Because god damn.
It was peak.
Jean-Claude apparently had fornication with her during the filming of that movie, and what a fucking dude. What a dude. Absolutely amazing. That movie again, I almost double dipped for that release, but I have the 88 release and it's unison. Oh shit, maybe for $18 maybe I'll get it.
Get Bison Bucks, man.
Yeah, I'll if my wife goes, "Why'd you buy this movie twice?" I'll go, "But I got Bison Bucks," and she'll probably call me an idiot.
Oh man,
what's your number 13?
I think we're down to 12 now. My number 12 is a box set that we mentioned was it last week or the week before? I just put a link in the chat for the Street Fighter Steelbook, by the way. Severin, it was the year for Severin for me by far. And I think the Milligan box set is great and all that, but Milligan is not my best friend. He's more of Aaron's best friend.
Oh, yeah, and me and him were like that. He had one great movie.
I have been a huge fan since I was like tiny, for some reason, of Christopher Lee. And the amount of just random stuff that they've compiled in this box is just a treasure trove for people that have never seen stuff from him, or people that have seen a lot, because a lot of this you could not see anywhere else before this box set. I mean, there are full episodes of a TV show that was hidden forever. And, we've been talking about good books, and this is just an absolute great book to show the amount of detail that they go to on some of these. Yes, there are some good art pieces, and man, this is really hard to do from behind. That's what she said. This is, just again, film school in a box. Really well done. Because it's Severin, they did the classic black cases in the hard box, taking off the top Again, that's what she said. Really nice box set overall. I've already talked about this a lot. 8 Blu-rays and a CD, and it's not even that expensive for everything that you get in here. This was actually fairly competitively priced, I think.
My better half really wants that one, actually.
Also, I want to point out Sean's comment here. Van Damme was blowing $10,000 a day on coke during the filming of Street Fighter.
That's it. Those are rookie numbers.
Those are, I mean, compared to my monster intake, Van Damme's a pussy. All right, we're at what? What number is this?
Number 11, I think.
No, one. Oh, yeah. It is number 11. Holy shit. All right, my number 11 is Time and Tide by Troy Hart. I have to warn you, the story in this movie is a little convoluted and kind of hard to follow. But the action and the set pieces are so goddamn good, and they're mind-blowing. Like, this came out, I think, the same year as The Matrix. Yeah, 2000. So a year after The Matrix. While The Matrix was mind-blowing for its special effects and the special effects set pieces, this had a lot of just practical action scenes where, like, people were actually putting themselves in harm's way, and it's insane. I adore this movie, Troy Hart. I think besides the Swordsman trilogy, this is his best movie. And again, Frank Jang does an amazing commentary on this movie. We showed a picture last night of the amount of notes that he put out for Time and Tide, and it was like a page this thick. Also, it's the same orange as Sabata. Look at that.
How cool.
Very cool. But yeah, Eureka. You're going to be seeing a lot of Eureka.
I can't believe you chose a film that doesn't have much of a story. Because when I choose a film,
does that not have
a great story? So this is a new Central Cinema release of Showgirls. It comes with the You Don't Know Me documentary. The only thing missing that I would have put on this is Pennies from Heaven, Showgirls 2. So if you've ever seen Showgirls and you're like, man, I don't really like, this isn't for me, watch it again and then watch Pennies for Heaven. And then when you watch that, you realize, oh my God, Showgirls is so good, because Showgirls 2.
That Aaron, that release is not the 4K release, is it?
No, I wish. It's the
Does
Blu-ray
that have
release.
boobs in it?
That umbrella deal. Let me see. I don't think I can show the. I can show this part of the inside. I can't show the other side, but there's the
What's on the other
artwork
side?
there.
Just go ahead and show it, Aaron. Fuck it.
And no, it's just not too bad because you don't really see anything. But you got Gina Gershon and
Never seen that before.
I think Flip had a question for you.
Yeah, Aaron, is there breasts in this movie?
there may be a couple. So just be careful, for that.
I've never seen boobs.
One or two.
I gotta
10
watch.
or 20. Or a
We
lot.
see, Aaron. The difference between me and you is that we live in America. You can't show nipple, but I can watch Ricky O all day.
Yeah, it's nipples. We should be, free the nipples.
Free the nipple.
There we go.
Speaking of free the nipple, Ryan, what is your next pick?
A movie that I don't think has any nipples in it, sadly. Number 11 is one that I've been really stressing to purchase all this year on this channel and my own channel. Event Horizon from Screen
Yeah,
Factory.
Event Horizon.
This is such an incredible release. 4K transfer, brand new, looks incredible. Sadly, this will probably get a UHD in a couple of years now that they've got a new 4K scan of this. But on this, the special features are overwhelming. There are so many bonuses on this disc. And to show what is on here, we have audio commentary with the director. And by the way, this is the only good movie the director ever made. We have the making of Event Horizon, a 5-part documentary. The Point of No Return, the filming of Secrets, deleted and extended scenes, the unseen Event Horizon, and then a few other random things on there. It takes forever to get all through the special features on here, and it's so worth it. Not to mention, the movie is a classic, and it has never looked anywhere near this good. This movie is so great, and the perfect blend of sci-fi and horror. Great cast, really well done, and really one of the best, other than Alien, obviously, horror sci-fi set pieces ever by a long shot.
See, I'd have to sneak that in the house because my better half calls that bro sci-fi.
I don't understand that. It's great.
Dramatic. But I think she's in college, and most of the people that were watching it at the time were like kind of like the bro types. But I actually like the film. I think it's very much like almost kind of a Lovecraftian in the way that's done.
Right.
Sam Neill's incredible. So
Yep.
I agree with you, but yeah, I want that release. I'll sneak it in eventually.
One of my favorite series of films got a really beautiful release this year, and that is the Daimajin trilogy
Nice.
from Arrow Video. Beautiful top loader. The book in this is, look at this book right here, insanely thick with 2 C's. Beautiful release. A really, I would say, special set of films because Dai was, they had Gamera, but Gamera was more goofy. And they wanted to make a kaiju series set during a time period, like a specific time period. So they picked 3 directors. We got Kazuo Mori, Kenji Mizumi, and we also got Kimiyoshi Yasuda. All 3 of them, especially Kenji Mizumi, are known for doing Chambara films, Jidaigeki films. Kenji Mizumi, famously, I've talked about him a lot on this channel. He directed 4 out of the 6 Lone Wolf and Cub films. Each of the directors directed a handful of Zatoichi films. So they're really well versed in filming in Jidaigeki or the Chambara typical time setting. But they did a really amazing job with the special effects that I think still hold up today. There's a scene, I think, in Return of Daimajin where there's 2 guards on a watchtower and Daimajin is like right up to it. And like he's looking at them with his eye, and it's really creepy. I think it holds up incredibly well. But yeah, the movies aren't typical kaiju movies because he's not a monster. He's like a stone god. He's not ginormous like Gamera. He's smaller than Gamera and Godzilla, but he's big enough to do a lot of damage and fuck shit up. And I think the packaging is amazing, and the special features in here are mind-blowing. Like just mind-blowingly good. Kim Newman talks about each of the movies, and I think he's brilliant. I could listen to Kim Newman talk all day. But yeah, really, I think a really important set of films, and I honestly am surprised that we got these. They did the Gamera set last year, and they seem to have a pretty good working relationship with Dai, so hopefully they continue that. And we got Yokai Monsters as well this year. But out of those 2, Daimajin is just an incredible trilogy. So pick it up. If it's sold out, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, fuck you guys. You guys are out of luck.
Well, and they are releasing a standard.
Oh, they are? Did they say?
It's already up for pre-order.
Oh, really? How much is the standard?
I think it's the same as like Vengeance Trail, so it should even out around like 50.
That's not bad. I don't think that's bad at all. But yeah, amazing
on sale, come down to 35 or 40 probably.
Surprisingly heavy.
Yeah.
Like for how small it is, you could kill somebody with this. Not that I would know.
What a metric to go to first.
Yeah, you could commit murder.
With pretty much most of my picks, yeah, I agree.
Oh, dude. Later on. I mean, I think the one, like, it's the Daimajin set's heavier than this.
Yep.
This looks like it would weigh a ton. The Daimajin set, like, just to show you how much smaller it is. Look at this. You know what I mean? Like, it's way smaller, but it's fucking heavy. But yeah, that's my number 10. And also, nobody's pointed it out yet. I have switched hat 4 times now because we started filming this. I just want to see if anybody would catch on.
You shouldn't have said anything and seen how many you could get up to. Jason, by the way, that's the Amazon pre-order price. That'll go down quite a bit.
Don't buy from Amazon. Buy from Orbit.
Well, even if you did, it'll come down by the time it gets released.
Yeah.
I'm like the man on the street because I got like the smaller releases.
Oh, man, I have a lot of smaller ones coming.
They all need love. That's not a small release.
Yeah. So Halloween 2 on 4K. You could actually, if you really wanted to, if you like Halloween, you could actually stop here. I like the sequels as well, but you could just get the full story right here. He comes, he stalks, he gets blown up. These are great releases. Not a lot of new special features on here, to be honest with you. Just very, very, very light, like a couple new interviews, that type of thing. That's pretty much it. All the rest of it's kind of much ported over, but great releases for these films. I love the art. I know some people bitched about the art.
It's a little goofy, in my opinion.
I like it. Look at that. Come on, man. But what's really nice is the knives on each of these, and I think in the sickle with the with the reflection, really like that. But love these releases. Scream Factory, you got something from me this year that you didn't last year, but really did like these releases. And what else can I say on Halloween? Oh wait, shameless self-promotion time. Halloween Kills came out this year. On my channel, my merch store, by the way, the T-shirt I'm probably proud of the most is, and I have it on I'm in my merch store, everything but Evil Dies Tonight, which I think is a really good idea for a shirt. So there you
go. My number 10 is Aaron. I might have to mute you. I'm sorry, but for a warning for any epileptics, my number 10 genuinely is Ebola Syndrome in 4K. This movie, for anyone, he actually muted himself. For anybody other than Aaron, this is a huge win. A really fun movie to watch. It is gross. It is gritty. It is dirty. Yes, the last third is an epileptic's nightmare. But there's all kinds of stuff on here, and it's a really good release. And it looks just stupid good in 4K. It should not look this good at all. Not to mention it's Anthony Wong in 4K, and it's a great release. My favorite so far of the Black Friday titles.
I will agree. It should not look this good.
I would say that for most of Vinegar Syndrome's 4Ks. Even Terminal Island came out this year in 4K, and it looks way better than Terminal Island should look. And Terminal Island is a genuinely great movie.
Almost made my list, actually.
I mean that it's insane to me that the first 4K Hong Kong movie we got was fucking Ebola Syndrome. That's
from Vinegar Syndrome.
From Vinegar Syndrome. So, I mean, if they continue to go, because I really enjoy Tiger Claws and TC, pretty much that batch that they put out. If they continue down that path, I'm going to be a huge Vinegar Syndrome fan. And I know, Aaron, you were disappointed this year, but as a fan of Asian cinema, this year, New York Ninja, TC, Tiger Claws.
Overall, not, but with something like that, I do think it's a bit tone deaf at this particular time, especially for that to come out. And I think that the features, aside from the commentary, which is fantastic from what I've listened to, are not the greatest. I think that we could have had something in there to really introduce Cat 3 titles to newcomers, to people. This was their first Cat 3. Put it the documentary, put something like that on there. We didn't get a good feature. It was not feature. There's some releases, amazing features on there.
I think the hard part about that is the Untold Story from Unearthed Films just got all of that love. So to reproduce it would be a little overkill. Yes, I understand that it would be the brand new release from Vinegar Syndrome with all of that. And I think Vinegar Syndrome would do better than Unearthed Films, obviously, with that. However, it was such a focus. And not to mention, they're both Anthony Wong with the Untold Story in this, and they share so many of the same story beats. It's really weird how much of the Untold Story is essentially in Ebola Syndrome. But yeah, I love it.
Strangely sexy movie.
Especially, all the writhing in the natives. By the way, just to give you an actual voice for a moment, Aaron, can you speak to this since I'm not an epileptic?
All right. So there are a lot of Man About You, but there are a lot of moments in the film where people are having seizures. So as somebody that is epileptic, I'm an epileptic since I've been 3 years old. I do have grand mal seizures, and I've had them, a lot of them in the past. A lot of medication, a lot of Zen actually is what helps me now. But watching something like the Ebola Syndrome, for me personally, was a bit triggering. So I did kind of, especially near the last third of the film, kind of just go and grab some tea, put on the commentary, and kind of listen to it in the background as opposed to actually watching the film. But if that doesn't bother you, Jeff, man, everybody's got marches to the beat their own drummer. But for me, I experienced seizures in real life. I really don't need to see them on a film. It's really bothersome for me.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think I still think it's a fun movie, but number 9 is tough. I'm looking at my picks here. This is where it's going to start getting tough. I know what the number 3. I know what top 3 are, but it's hard for me to be like which one. But I'm going to have to say in 1966, 2 very important westerns came out. One of them, for decades, got all the praise: The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. But it came out in December of 1966. Another one, which I think is better, I think more important, slightly more influential, and made by the better Sergio, is Django. It came out in April of 1966. So we got Django, the 4K release. It looks so good, just incredibly good. I could not think a movie. First off, Italians did not take care of the film masters of these movies. Fucking, they didn't give a shit. But I love this movie. It comes with Texas Adios, which Ryan doesn't like, but I do like.
I don't think it's a bad movie. I just think it is way below Django.
It's really weird that they paired Texas Adios with
Django is like a 4.5 out of 5 for me, and Texas Adios is like a low 3.
Loaded with special. I mean, I don't agree with you, but loaded with special features, especially one with Sergio Corbucci's wife. Really cool interview with her where she talks about being married to Sergio Corbucci, and this is part of his. Yes, I did. It's part of his. It's part of his unofficial Mud and Blood trilogy. So it started with Django. We got The Specialist, and then the third one, which we'll talk about later, The Great Silence, which is one of my favorite spaghetti westerns, favorite movies of all time. But yeah, it's a part of an unofficial trilogy. He went on and did a ton of spaghetti westerns after this. But I think this spawned, like, this was such a massive hit in the box office. I think I did the conversion for like money wise, and it made like the equivalent of like $300 million today in 1966 at the Italian box office. So imagine that during that time period. Fucking bonkers. It was such an international hit that certain movies would just get renamed Django in different territories, especially Germany. It was a huge hit in Germany. So a bunch of movies that would come out in other countries that have nothing to do with Django, they would just get slapped on with the Django name, which I think is very fascinating. Like in my own collection, I think I have like 50 Django movies.
Oh, Jesus.
Just like that have nothing to do with Django at all. But yeah, I love that movie. It's top 3 favorite spaghetti westerns of all time. And also, like, when people, this is a good example because, I mean, not to go on too much of a tangent, but spaghetti westerns used to get such shit for being lesser than their Western counterparts. But for me, I think spaghetti westerns are way better than anything Hollywood was doing. Especially during the Code era of Hollywood. I've been going back and rewatching classics like 3:10 to Yuma, the original, My Darling Clementine, and as much as those movies are good, they're missing a grit that I need in my movies. And Django, yes, I did like the Tarantino Django movie quite a bit. Django Unchained is great, and Franco Nero was actually in that movie when Django goes the D silent. He's talking to the original Django. So yeah, Django's incredible. Highly recommend it. And kind of a weird release because we got it last year unofficially. They had to pull it. Blue Underground had the rights still, and then they did the 4K. And it's their best 4K in my opinion. Tied with Old Boy. But yeah. Yeah. Bubba,
Number 9.
You have a good one. Aaron, what's your number 9?
Easy choice.
Nice.
For Mad Men Only. It is a fantastic documentary by a genius named Del Close that if you don't know him, trust me, you know of all the people he's influenced over the years. Because you look at Saturday Night Live, SCTV, there's so many people that were affected and influenced and kind of like mentored by this guy. It is insanely good. This was made during the time they're making a comic book on his life, actually, a DC comic. And this is extremely well done. Again, this is another Utopia, I think. Yeah, Utopia put this one out. So much like Shiva Baby, another release they put out. If you have not seen this, a lot of people kind of like skip on this one. It's a documentary. It's something different. But if you're into acting, if you're into comedy, if you're into improv, watch the fuck out of this movie. For those who don't know, I was at one point going to my entire from childhood to adulthood before I went into journalism, acting. That's what I was going to do. And so I studied a lot of these people. I studied a lot of improv. That's my whole channel is, when I do live, I pull from improv all the time. And this guy here is a master. And this is a frigging amazing release.
Bubba, thank you so much, man. And thanks for Ryan for joining. Ryan also asked a couple of good questions. Ryan, at the end of the show, goes, I felt out of place. And I was like, no, without you, we wouldn't have gotten a couple of important questions. Because I wasn't even going to talk about the China censorship thing.
Yeah.
And loose and fun is what my wife describes me as. So.
Oh, man, that was a good segue. Number 9 for me is one that I do believe Aaron will feel that I'm going to redeem myself with a little bit. And that is Synapse's release of Demons 1 and 2 in 4K. I have been screaming all year that for those that have not purchased Demons 1 and 2 ever, this is obviously the best looking release because it's in 4K. But these are what I view and tell other people is the true gateway to Italian horror. And they work as a way that is relatable to what you've seen through American horror, but makes it just a little weirder and just sort of something that you can dip your toe into the oddities of Italian horror. And it's so well done. And not to mention, a lot of people have not talked about the Synapse release, which is why I specifically chose that one. Everybody talked about the Arrow release, but I do love that they have the original art that you can flip to on this. And then on the inside, they have a copy of the invite for something from the movie. And then they talk about the actual transfer. But just like from the Arrow release, one of the biggest things that I wanted to frame, even though it's tiny, is the...
Oh, nice.
Obviously, if you've seen it, something about that. And then information about the transfer for that film on the back. And it comes with the poster. Mine came with the Synapse catalog. That doesn't do a whole lot. But it's loaded with features. It's got all the same thing as the Arrow release. Literally everything is identical. It's the exact same discs, basically. Jeff, I'm not saying that this is better than Zombie. I think this is... I think this is a better intro to Italian horror than Zombie.
I do think Zombie is a good movie.
Zombie is great, and
I love Zombie, but that's better. One, soundtrack's killer, especially for the first film. Amazing soundtrack. Two, if you're a horror fan, if you're a Giallo fan, the extremely good-looking redheaded girl in the film that you see, the really strange-looking one, that's the little girl from Deep Red.
Yep.
She grew up well. It has a great, it's a balls to the wall action horror, like insanity. And the second one is really, really good too. I love the second one as well. My sister, my youngest sister, she was terrified of Demons 2 when she was young. She couldn't even look at the box cover of it. So of course, when she came and visited me once when I lived in St. John's, we had to sit down and watch it because I'm a cool brother. But she liked it.
Good man.
And Ryan's right. When he said he's been screaming at everyone about this movie, every time I call Ryan, he's like, "Did you buy Demons yet?" And I'm like, "Fuck, Ryan, calm down. Calm down." No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
What I've learned is if I'm really talking about releases per flip, I just have to buy them for you. Otherwise, they will never be bought and watched.
Ryan for Christmas bought me Siege and Perdita. Was it Perdita? Perdita Durango. He's been like, "Hey, you should get those." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll get them." And I just haven't gotten them. And then one day I opened up my mailbox and they're there. And I was like, "Thank you." Which I'm in turn returning to him with Tokusatsu and anime. So be prepared to watch 47 fucking episodes.
I've already got the Return to Sender labeled. It's got tape on it. I just need to slap it on there.
My number 8 movie is a phenomenal martial arts movie. And a very important movie because at the time, no one had done this. Shaw Brothers was massive. And one of their stars, Jimmy Wang Yu, broke his contract, said, fuck you, and left and went and directed and wrote and starred in a movie for Golden Harvest, their upcoming competitor. And that is the one-armed boxer. He pretty much took the trope of his One-Armed Swordsman series that he collaborated with Chang Che. That catapulted him into, at the time, the biggest star in Hong Kong. One-Armed Swordsman was the first movie to break $1 million at the Hong Kong box office and literally launched him into stardom, not all over the world, but in Asia, big enough to where he went and collaborated with Shintaro Katsu in a Zatoichi movie called Zatoichi versus the One-Armed Swordsman. So he was massive in Japan as well. And he was a fan of Japanese cinema, which we will talk about later on. But this movie is so much fun. Very standard tournament fighting movie. But just the characters are racist caricatures. The Japanese guy is literally straight up vampires because they call him bloodsuckers, and he's got fangs and he's very evil. That's the Japanese guy. The Indian guy is just a Chinese guy painted gray for some reason. He's painted gray, and his fighting style is yoga. So, but it's a ton of fun. Absolutely love this movie. Again, amazing Frank Jing commentary, which he told us it was the last commentary he did on his iPhone. He recorded the commentary on his iPhone. You can't even tell. But yeah, one-armed boxer, Jimmy Wang Yu, and we will be talking about Jimmy Wang Yu later because he is a fucking nut job, and also I think one of the most underrated at just how important he was to martial arts cinema as a whole. He is pretty much the beginning of a lot of it. So we'll talk about that later. That's number 8.
A very different Western. Not a spaghetti Western. Not a standard Hollywood Western. Australian Western.
Oh.
I did not know if I was going to like this at all. This was pretty much on a lark. I said, okay, I'll try it. But holy shit, was this fun. Not only fun, it was tense. There's a sequence in this film. So it's called Overlander. And Sunburnt Scream Films, anything that they put out on that I love. So this one here, there's a sequence where, because they're trying to get all these heads of cattle across. And they get to a point where the water's dried up. The cattle aren't going to make it. They're going to die in the sun. So instead, they're going to have to go up this mountain. There's this treacherous mountain pass that they're going to have to go up. And they're going up there. They're getting up there. The cattle are coming. And there's this huge kind of like branch thing in the way. And the girl that's up there can't get it out of the way. So there's this guy. He's climbing the mountain as quick as he can. The cattle are coming up. And they're starting to get to the point where we see like a cattle just like fall off the edge of the mountain because there's no going back. They're just going to go forward. So they're all going to fall off. They're going to lose heads upon heads of cattle if, they're all going to be dead. And he's trying to get up there to get to that, to get to this like huge branch to take it off. And it is such a tense freaking scene. It's such a simple thing. And it was so well done. And I'm watching, I'm like, come on, get. I wasn't sure if he was going to make it up. Wasn't sure if he was going to fall, if they're going to go another way. So, yeah. And it has a second movie on it, which I haven't had the chance to watch yet, but a movie called Kangaroo, which is a movie which is a Hollywood movie. I think it's got Marina Sullivan in it. And it was shot in Australia.
Overlanders, and who put that out?
Umbrella, under the Sunbeam Screen Entertainment. So this is for me, like a lot of people, I love the exploitation or, the other stuff. But this one here, they put out a lot of kind of like under the radar films. Yep. And yeah, 1947, man.
Umbrella has a really good line called 6-Shooter Classics. And a lot of them are just DVD and they're cheap as hell. A lot of movies a lot of spaghetti westerns and westerns in general are stuck only on that line. A lot of times they can't find the masters for them, so they do the best they can and just put them out on DVD. And I think Umbrella is great for that.
That was a huge surprise. I thought, okay, this will be okay. I'll watch it through.
But you liked enough to put it on your top 10.
Yeah. It surprised the hell out of me, man.
Damn. Ryan, what is your number
8?
8?
Number 8 is my last Vinegar Syndrome title, and that is the Homegrown Horrors Box Set. This is such a fun box set. Really glad that we got stuff like this together. Really glad we're getting another volume coming up here soon. Beyond Dream's Door and Winter Beast are the winners of this, but really Fatal Exam is not bad either. Everything on here is great. They go into so many details on everything, and each one, when you buy the box, gets their own case, gets their own art and everything. They all have special features, and I believe, yes, all of them have commentary tracks, which Criterion take a note there. Obviously, if something like Winter Beast and Fatal Exam can get a commentary and Deep Cover can't, there's a problem.
So now we're at number 7, and this is it's narrowing it down. It's hard.
What were you saying there, Aaron? I missed that.
Oh, I said the artwork on that is gorgeous. Like that,
it really is, and it's all around great.
Man, this is a lot harder than I was expecting. This is a lot fucking harder than I was expecting. Looking at, because there's just so many good releases this year. But I want to give a special shout out. I have my top 5. I'm looking. Oh, I can change that too, man. This is tough. This is my favorite Western of all time. Hands down, the best Western in my opinion. Especially spaghetti Western. It's got an amazing ending, which this has an alternate ending to it. The Great Silence by Eureka. Amazing film. Klaus Kinski is as menacing as ever. I think it's Corbucci's best film. I think it's his masterpiece. I think it's a masterpiece of Western. It's one of the only Westerns that takes place in snow. I think that's what kind of is the gimmick that gets people hooked. At first, you're like, oh. And there's a lot of gimmicks in this movie, which would make it sound very gimmicky. You know, the main character can't talk. His throat was slit. Klaus Kinski is kind of a cross-dressing bad guy. It's in snow, but it's so brilliantly shot. It's brilliantly acted, and it is harrowing, especially the ending. Spoilers for a movie from 1967 or whatever it is. Spoilers for a movie that's old as shit. The main character dies. The bad guy wins at the end. And there is a huge lead up to where you think you know what's going to happen. And then it just averts your expectations. And it's very sad. Like, I mean, to the point where Taylor loves Westerns. She was watching it. And when the ending happened, and it doesn't make a big deal of the death either. It just happens. And then just, that's it. End of the movie. And she was just like, that can't be it. That can't be it. All that can't be it. And I was like, I think that's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant, especially, you know, in the 60s when this came out. Mind blowing that they did that. It comes with art cards, comes with a poster. But what I really like about this release specifically is the commentary by Alex Cox, which was filmed live for a showing last year at 36 Cinema. 36 Cinema usually plays martial arts movies. Online, they usually have somebody come in. They do like a live commentary over the movie. Earlier this year, they did the 5 Venoms with RZA and Dan Halstad, which was an amazing commentary. But yeah, Alex Cox, I think, gives personally his best commentary ever. And it's in a live setting, and you can tell he's having fun with the movie, tell he really likes the movie. It also has a brand new interview with Austin Fisher, author of Radical Frontiers and Spaghetti Western, Politics, Violence, and Popular Italian Cinema. Cox and Corbucci, two alternate endings, which again, when you watch these endings, they're good, but this movie wouldn't have been as incredible as it was if it wasn't for that ending that they chose. Also, to tie it back into Asian cinema, because throughout history, samurai movies and westerns bounced back and forth on each other all the time. This movie was a huge hit in Japan, massive hit in Japan. And such a big hit that Shintaro Katsu and Hideo Gosha, Shintaro Katsu famously Zatoichi, Hideo Gosha directed 3 Outlaw Samurai that Criterion put out. They were going to buy the rights. They were very close to buying international rights to this movie. Then Clint Eastwood, our favorite conservative, came in and bought the rights from out from under and paid way more than what they were going to be paying for. And I think what we eventually got from Eastwood that would have been the remake was Joe Kidd. Nowhere near as good. But Katsu and Gosha said, fuck that. Let's just go make our own TV show based on this. So they enlisted Tomotsuburo Wakayama, famously played Ogami Ito in the Lone Wolf and Cub movies, who is Shintaro Katsu's brother. They made a 26-episode TV show, which is phenomenal, called The Mute Samurai. Same plot. At a young age, guy gets his throat slit, and he's pretty much on the run. Do you guys like Wu-Tang Clan? I flick it hardcore like Plono flick bitches. I roll with groups of ghetto bastard with biscuits. But yeah, just so then they did the TV show, and Mute Samurai I recently bought this year. It's a phenomenal TV show. And you can tell it's directly influenced from The Great Silence. A lot of story cues are expanded upon and made whole episodes. But yeah, just an absolutely influential movie, very important. And I think I'm loving that Eureka is still putting out great Westerns, and surprised that this is not a Masters of Cinema. Oh, it is a Masters of Cinema release as I pull it down. Glad that they decided to put this on the banner of Masters of Cinema, because I feel like companies that suck like Criterion wouldn't dare put a spaghetti Western under their brand. But yeah, Great Silence. Sorry for rambling there.
Hands down, is one of the greatest Westerns ever made, and one of the best shot Westerns ever made, too. Great Silence. I love it. 8 films.
What is that?
This is the Urban Legends box set that they put, the big one. And
I love Urban Legends.
This is gorgeous. Well, I got when you look right into the axe, if you can see that, the other killers are shown on the axe from part 2 and 3.
Oh shit!
So it's super well done. Like they always do the wraparound artwork on here. There's postcards. There's a poster. Excellently cool stuff. I'd never watched Urban Legends 3 because I was always like, that's the kind of the supernatural-ish one. So I would never go to it. I would never watch it. It was fun. Not the greatest. Urban Legends 1. Can't beat that one. But still, I had fun with 2. I loved the hell out of 2. And for what it was, I actually didn't mind this one. I actually thought this was better than I expected it to be. And when the other, like when you're thinking of trilogies and stuff like that, and the other one you normally go to is I Know What You Did Last Summer, right? Which they also put out a box set of. And Urban Legend 3 is actually good, and I'll always Know What You Did Last Summer is dog shit. So, yeah, big difference there. But this is an excellent box set. This was gifted to me by my good friend George, actually. I was so excited to get this. And oh man, it's a great release. This is my 8 films release on the for this year, and I have watched it a couple times actually.
All right. I feel like I need to make a disclaimer before my number 7. I've listed Ebola syndrome. I've listed Perdita Durango, and with this one, a lot of people are gonna be like, "What the fuck? Ryan is a piece of shit." I'm not. I promise.
I know what it is.
This isn't even the worst one on my list. It's going to get a little worse above this. But I watch movies to feel things, and this movie pissed me off in one scene that went on for a very long time. This movie made me cringe in one very painful inducing scene, and then the ending of this movie is depressing as shit. But I appreciate what Indicator put into Irreversible, and Gaspar Noé is a master of his craft. And the main reason to pick this is not only can people finally see this movie in high def in a way that they made 10,000 copies of this, so this is everywhere, but the amount of special features on this disc is crazy. Again, really good book in this one. This is one that really goes into it. And the scenes in this, yes, there are 2 very like cringe-inducing scenes, and it is hard to watch. And I'm not saying that I'm not even saying that like I enjoy watching sexual assault, obviously, but it is something that because it is real and affects other people, I want to be able to be an empath for those situations. And so watching a movie that can do it well and make you literally feel that visceral like hate against somebody in response to that is the magic of cinema. And Irreversible does it in a way that really pisses you off and really makes you feel for somebody else. And the movie is, for lack of better words, it's special. It is so well done. And Gaspar Noé, genuinely one of the best.
I don't feel things. I sit in bed sometimes at night and watch cartel beheading videos and then just immediately go to bed. Doesn't faze me. But the rape scene in that movie is so fucking bad that I was like, all right, that's enough. And then it just kept going. I was like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
And
it's a wonderfully done film. Like the Bull Cinema's not my bag. Well shot, yes, but it is a masterpiece. And will I own it? At one point, yes. Will I be able to watch it? I'll probably watch the features more than the film, just because it does get me at that visceral level where I'm like, I just can't do this right now. But yeah, it is a great film. It's a good choice.
I loved watching your eyes read that comment.
Yeah, dude, Irreversible. No, just kidding. My number one, I definitely thought about it. You guys, I mean, probably not family friendly, but do you guys get like, when you guys get excited, you get a little bit of a chub? You know what I'm talking about? Do you guys do that? Does that happen to you guys?
I'm a male. I know what. Are you getting to a point with that?
My number one gave me a chub. I was like, woo! You know what I mean? So, close. But, yeah, Gaspar Noé, man, just a brilliant director. There's his closet picks on the Criterion channel. He picks up Solo, and he looks at it the way I looked at my daughter when she was born. Like, he is just like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
And I'm very eager to see his new film with Argento starring in it. Literally, no, Dario Argento. It's a story about Alzheimer's.
Oh, shit. When's that coming?
It has screened at a bunch of festivals this year, and it's supposed to get a decent release sometime in 2022.
Is the reception good?
It is. It's a Gaspar Noé film, so it's very divisive.
Yeah. Yeah, he's nuts. You know what else is nuts? Is my number 6. And that is, I'm looking at this, man. It's hard. This is tough. This is so fucking tough. Because honestly, any other year, if these movies came out separately, it would have been number 1. This is how good this year was. And that is 88 Films release of, can you guys guess?
I think
Anaconda box set. No, I'm just kidding. Chinese Boxer. Absolutely.
Good answer.
This is a great movie. And Jimmy Wang Yu, for a long time, I feel like he just hasn't been that well respected in the West. He got treated like absolute shit at Shaw because they were a factory like studio. They were just cranking out movies. He started a bunch of wuxia films in the 60s. Trail of Broken Blade is a highlight. And of course, the One-Armed Swordsman trilogy launched him and started him, like I was saying earlier. But this movie, he fought tooth and nail with Shaw. I'm your biggest star. Let me write, let me direct, and let me star in a movie. And they kept saying no. And he said, if you don't let me do this, I'm going to leave. He called their bluff. They allowed him to do it. They still fought with him during the making of this movie. And he made a mainly hand-to-hand combat movie at a time when that was uncommon. That was unheard of. At that time that this movie came out, we were still in the wuxia phase of Shaw and in Asian cinema in general. This movie, Bruce Lee saw this movie and went to Golden Harvest because at the time Jimmy Wang Yu was huge and said, I want to be bigger than Jimmy Wang Yu. And this movie pretty much copy and pasted Bruce Lee's first movie, which Bruce Lee then blew up in the West. So without this movie, we wouldn't have probably had the fire lit under Bruce Lee's ass to become an international star. Not saying Bruce Lee wouldn't have become a big star without this movie because he was destined for stardom. It's Bruce Lee. You guys know what I mean? Like, he was just so charismatic. He was bound to be big. But this movie is so influential and so important. Also, for a person's first move, like his first directorial debut, he has such a grasp at films. And Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society, I want to give him credit. Will over there, he did a very good review of this. Jimmy Wang Yu was a massive fan of Japanese cinema, and Japanese cinema is very horizontal. And a lot of this movie is filmed in a way that you could tell his influences are directly from the Zatoichi movies, the Akira Kurosawa movies. You could tell he was loving Japanese cinema. But yeah, I absolutely love this movie. Jimmy Wang Yu in the first, and I mean, Jimmy Wang Yu as a person was insane. And I think as a martial artist, he's not a traditional martial artist. He's not trained in martial arts like Bruce or Jackie Chan are. What makes him special is that he was literally getting into street fights all the time. Like he was known for street fighting, even when he was famous. I mean, when he was famous, he got into a street fight at a casino he was hanging out with a different triad group. They came across another triad group, and Jimmy Wang Yu started some shit and was fighting fucking mafia members. Then they go to trial for this incident, and then Jimmy Wang Yu gets in trouble at the courthouse fighting with people. 2 people died in that incident, and then the opposing triad members did a hit on him. He was eating dinner at a restaurant by himself, just sitting outside having a good time. They went by him, just shot him up. He was in the hospital. Like, he was a hard head, but I think he's a brilliant visionary. And I think if he would have been probably less calm, more calm. Sorry, not less calm, because he was nuts. If he was more calm, he probably would have blown up bigger. But he had such a bad reputation for being a bad boy. And I think his physicality is what makes him stand out, because, with Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, their physicality is more, they can kick, they can punch, they can, they can do comedy, they can, they're trained martial artists. But with Jimmy Wang Yu, he's not a trained martial artist. So when he throws a kick, it looks like if my fat ass threw a kick. And he's more like just a brawler, and you can tell. But yeah, Chinese boxer, and that transfer from 88 Films is gorgeous. I mean, absolutely beautiful. It's one of the only times this year I put in a movie and went, oh, fuck, that looks amazing. Like, what the hell? And again, Kung Fu Bob on the artwork right there looks incredible. Highly recommend you watch this movie. Highly recommend it. Sorry for rambling. I'm going to be rambling with the other one.
Please do, yeah.
Now, for the greatest martial arts of all. So,
Alley Cat.
Vinegar Syndrome put this out. When Vinegar Syndrome put this out, they put this out with champagne and bullets. At the time, I'm going to say it right now. At the time, everybody was saying, oh my God, champagne and bullets. I can't believe that's coming out. It's Getavan. It's coming out. And everybody was saying, I'm not sure about Alley Cat. This turned out to be by far, by a country mile, the much, much better, much entertaining film. It's not even fucking close.
No.
This is so good, and it's so fun. And there's some crazy scenes in it, but the girl is gorgeous. The action scenes are actually really good, because she was actually, she was a good martial artist. But she was acting with people that not all the time were, which, she did the best that she could. But this is a really fun film. If you haven't got it, get this freaking movie.
It's a sleeper. Not really a sleeper, because another one I just won't shut the hell up about. And I think everything else that I have left is titles that I won't shut up about. Number 6 is Santa Sangre in 4K. There is not a lot about this that has not been said by other people. This is an epic by Jodorowsky. It is beautifully shot. It is a wild emotional ride of loss and anguish and growth and recovery and like religious experience, all through a surrealist lens. And it is so beautiful in 4K. It is hard to hit on how amazing this looks in 4K. It is so much better than the old Blu-ray release. It is wild. The release is great. And this has more than 8 hours of bonus features, including a feature-length documentary. This is easily one of the best pickups of the year. and going for pretty cheap on Amazon. So if people do not have this yet, by all means, and especially if you've never seen it, please jump in and see this one. A lot of people that have never seen it don't realize the main character right here is Jodorowsky's son, and it's it is just the things that he has the people in this film do are great. It is beautiful, just genuinely a mesmerizing film. This one's hard to talk about without gushing over with how good it is.
Aaron, I just put Alley Cat on my to buy list.
It's a fun film, man.
I saw nipples, so.
Oh, there's lots of nipples in that movie. Almost everybody that's female that comes to that movie, except for an old lady, they're nude.
I can see why you like it. So, I'm like two of my favorite genres I talk about a lot: spaghetti westerns and martial arts movies, and both of them have hundreds, if not thousands, of movies that are bad. I mean, they were mass produced at you were talking about a time when Italy was putting out 400 to 500 movies a year for like 2 decades. The same thing happened with martial arts movies. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of movies that are bad. And I'm the type of person where I will throw on, and I don't want to give credit to this YouTube channel, the Wu-Tang Collection, but they put out a lot of lesser known martial arts and kung fu movies. And I'll put one on and just have something fun to like do while I'm at work or whatever. But every once in a while, you stumble upon a movie that's part of the Taiwan production line, where they were cranking. A lot of these actors would go over there and start working in Taiwan because it was cheaper. There was less rules. They could crank 5 or 6 movies out in like a month or two, and just probably pretty much like the same production speed as Shaw, but with no budget at all. So they had to use a lot of creativity. And one of those movies is from the director Ting Chung, who directed another movie which I hope gets a release called 7 Steps of Kung Fu, which has some amazing fights in it. But this is from a German label called The Vengeance Pack, and it's a media book. And that is The Golden Mask, or as they call it, Shaolin ein Faust die Tod. Sorry, my German's terrible. I've never spoken it. It's a limited edition. So the way they do their releases, they'll have like multiple covers. And I feel like for this release, they really went all out because there was 4 different versions, and each one, I don't know if you can see this, it says out of 333. So I got number 256 out of 333. This movie is very low budget, but it's very creative and it's very fun. Again, artwork by Kung Fu Bob O'Brien. And the book in here is incredible. And I want to give the Vengeance Pack a shout out because they did the mastering in-house for this movie. And I don't know how they were able to find a transfer this good, but they did. And it looks incredible. But yeah, the book here, it's all in German, but I used Google Translate, took a picture of each page, and it does a good enough job where you can actually understand what's happening. But look how much is there for a very unknown Kung Fu movie. And then at the end of the book, you get some stills, some screenshots of behind the scenes, and then you get all the posters and lobby cards that were used during this movie. 2-disc set, 1 Blu-ray, 1 DVD. The other special features are not in English, but the movie is English friendly. It has English subtitles, so highly recommend you guys pick this up. Incredible release. Vengeance Pack seems to be very beloved in Germany. They've been doing a lot of Shaw Brothers titles. They just put out the Black Mask, I believe, which I need to pick up. But yeah, I don't think that's ever going to get a US release or a UK release. Golden Mask is incredible. That was my number 2 until the very end of the year when 2 big things came out. So,
and that's 5. We were finally in our top 5.
Yes, we are. And yes, I did Deflex. I did. I haven't watched it yet, so it's not in my it's not on my list. But yes. I think that one is out of print, Gold Mask. That version is, yep.
Then you're soon going to get like a lot of stuff in the next, a lot of love in the next little few ones. And this one especially.
Yeah, you were hyped on that this year.
Yeah, I super love this one. And people like bitch to bit the artwork. Like, oh, look at the artwork. Yeah. Look at the face. And then, seriously, The movies are excellent in here. Are You Alone in the House was one. There's a whole like book written on like TV films, and it's titled Are You Alone in the House. It's called that for a reason because this is a really, really cool little stalker film, is what it is. Basically, it starts out after the fact this girl's been attacked, and we don't know who's attacked, we don't know why, and then it goes back to about a week or so earlier, and it's really well done. The second one is fun too. It's almost like a kind of a cheesy, almost giallo-ish one, kind of cowgirl murders. But Child of the Night, which is this picture right here, which people made fun of, that's Elijah Wood, and that's a really good film. Like it's a really cool film. It had the Hook looking kind of like the killer Before I Know What You Last Summer did, and Darren McGavin's in this one as well, from Kolchak, of course, but he's much older here. But a great release, some excellent special features. I just wish there was more on here. I wish that there was more on here because it was a little bit light with the special features. Pick this up because I want to see Volume 2, and if you still, Dustin, man, pick this up. I want Volume 2 to come out because
how many films are in there?
Pick this up, we won't get a second volume.
3.
There's 3 movies in there.
Yeah, we got, and that's neat the way the art's done. So like, please stand by on the
Great.
and like, I'm watching you, and artwork wise, it's pretty cool. I like the way they're done. There's Are You in the House Alone? The Count of Girl Murders with Sharon Stone, actually, and Child of the Night, which is what this was a surprise actually.
Stendhal Syndrome says Kid Frodo.
Kid Frodo. He kills it in this movie, man. Like that dude was always a good actor.
It really was. All right, my number 5 is I don't remember everything I shared, but this might be my only studio pick, and that surprised a lot of people from the other show a couple weeks ago as well. The Columbia Classics Volume 2, the 4K set. I love this release. I love everything that they put into this, and one of the main reasons is in the back of it. They have this giant hardback book, and it is a lot better of a release than a lot of boutiques go for. And for those that don't know, this is the only way to get a lot of these 4K releases. This has Anatomy of a Murder, Oliver, Taxi Driver, Stripes, Sense and Sensibility, and The Social Network. And the big thing is yesterday, after a coupon on Amazon, this thing was less than $75 US. And that is a wild price. And for those that remember from, I think it was last year that they put out Volume 1. For those that remember that one went down in price as well. And right after it did, it went out of print. So I would not be surprised if this was out of print literally within a couple weeks. It is that quick. So if you were looking for it, none of these are available on their own on 4K yet. And from the first set, I think only 1 or 2 out of 6 are available in 4K on their own. So I don't know what Sony's doing, because obviously, like Taxi Driver is in this on 4K. That would sell like gangbusters if it got a standard release. But there is no indication that they're putting out a Taxi Driver standard 4K. So if you really want that in 4K, this is the way to go. And they look great. Literally everything in here looks really good. Some obviously going to be better than others. Like Stripes is nowhere near as good as something like Taxi Driver. Even Oliver surprised me how good that looks in 4K. But yeah, really good set. Obviously, very wildly different films. So it's not like there is a connecting theme to these other than they were Columbia and Sony Pictures. So really good release. Sardis says, where is everyone getting coupons from? If you go to the item on Amazon, there is a little checkbox below that says, clip this coupon for a super good discount on one of those off. And like the Django release that I think I linked above, if you go to that and click on it, you'll see an example of it. It's listed at like $31.97 or something, but it says click this box to remove $6.79 or something, and it takes it down to a much better price. And on this one yesterday, it was listed at like 91 or 92, and the coupon was for 18 or 20 bucks or something off. And that's just crazy that it was that cheap.
I need to pick it up. Man, number 4 is tough. It's a really hard pick here. But I'm gonna have to go with my favorite Western release of the year, Vengeance Trails by Arrow Video. I know people are gonna bitch. They fucked up the spine. I don't give a shit. I'm not a madman. I don't display my movies like this.
Right.
I display it like this, or if I really want to, I display it like this. Incredible set of films, all with a central theme, and I really like that Arrows did this year. Years of Lead, very similar, but My Name is Pecos, God Said to Cain, Banditos, and Massacre Time. Massacre Time, correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, you might know this more. Lucio Fulci, his first non-comedy, correct? It predates his horror movies, and it's violent. Like you could tell, that this is the guy who eventually does Zombie and all that. So fantastic movie. Very sought after for a while. To kind of call back another company, while these productions put out Massacre Time under a different name, I believe Brute and the Beast, because these westerns had so many different names depending on region. While these is no longer with us anymore, which is sad because they were so important for spaghetti westerns in the States. And I think these 4 movies are all good. My Name is Pecos is my least favorite, but it's still a great movie. My favorite in God Said to Cain, I think the only spaghetti western where Klaus Kinski plays a good guy in is just brilliant. Banditos is amazing. Banditos is directed by, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he is the cinematographer for Sergio Leone, and you could tell he got a lot of tips from him while he was doing that. Massacre Time is also good, but this book that comes with it, I think, is brilliant, and I think the artwork, I would have loved a poster of this. Look at that. That artwork is beautiful. Ryan, did you check this out?
Yeah,
it's just beautiful. Nice little, they have little information about each movie, but this thing is called Vengeance Trails, Revenge Spaghetti Western Style by Howard Hughes, and he writes up each movie. And the way he does it is really cool because each movie has its own themed section. So he first talks about revenge in these movies, and then Lashings of Violence, Lucio Fulci's Massacre Time. And he writes, and then there's little chapter breaks where it says the Django effect, and writes about it. Just brilliant release. I think these are really good spaghetti westerns, and I'm glad that Arrow gave them a really nice box set. Brilliant artwork on the front as well. Just amazing. And that poster is for Banditos and Massacre Time. So, yeah, that is my number 4 favorite release of the year. As a Western fan, it was a pretty solid year.
If I had that would be in my top 3, actually. That is an amazing set. I need it. I'm so behind on things. I'm almost embarrassed.
Ryan just got his last week.
Yep.
But that televised terror set was a great TV film box set, but it wasn't the best that came out this year.
Fun City.
What? Primetime Panic is excellent. Fun City Editions did an amazing job on their first box set. This is incredible. And one of these films here is actually, I guess it was maybe it had a theater release or something, because it is pretty, I guess, more risque for a TV release.
I think it had a theater release in Europe.
Yeah, and that's the release that's on here, by the way. So it is the air cut that's on here. It's really well done, and the interior artwork is amazing. What's cool, I was watching Dreams Don't Die, and I'm like, is that the kid from it is, isn't it? It's a kid from Witch Mountain. And so, being one of those Disney guys, I knew right away, this is a really good film, actually. And the kid that plays the bad guy, you wouldn't the way he looks, you wouldn't assume he'd be that bad of a bad guy, but he does a really good job. Freedom is really cool, but I think the star of it is Death Ride to Osaka. Great film. I like all 3 of these films, but you got Jennifer Jason Leigh and this one. Now this one is more on the sleazier side, but loved it. Great release, great features on here, and I look forward to whatever Fun City Editions does next as a box set or anything in general, because see this company right here, this partner label is the most solid release after release for for Vinegar Syndrome. This is their best partner label. They got some great ones: Gunpowder and Sky, Utopia, fantastic. But Fun City Editions, there has not been a bad release.
I would agree there. Fun City is at the top of my list as well. Utopia is fairly close though. They've gone under. Obviously, Shiva Baby has gotten a lot of attention, but some of their other titles have been just amazing as well. And then also Gunpowder and Sky, they are close. They put out so many great titles.
And Utopian, like honestly, those three companies deserve it. They put out amazing stuff all the time, and I can't say anything bad about Utopia. Like Shiva Baby, still, if that was here, that like I can't find my copy of Shiva Baby right now, but like full disclosure, that would have been number one. That's how much I like that film. All right, you good, Flip?
Oh, I'm great.
Was that your mom offering you pasta again?
It's my mom offering me soup. You were very close. Very close. Yeah, that's my mom offering me fucking soup.
All right. First off, I do want to, since we were talking about Vinegar Syndrome, and I don't have any more Vinegar Syndrome titles. Stendhal asks, how many do you guys think of the new 20 VS titles are going to be partner labels? We already know the entire January slate from Vinegar Syndrome, so I believe it's We know that there are four Vinegar Syndrome titles, and then they did say that there's going to be a new VSP, so that's 5. And they said there's going to be almost 20, so there's probably 18 or 19 titles, and the rest are going to be partner label releases. It's going to be a partner heavy month.
I'm really
unless they drop something very surprising.
I'm really hoping that Subculture does something. I was so impressed by the Deadlock 4K, and they didn't do anything else. So hopefully one of them is that. So.
They are one of a few partner labels that only did one title last year. So I'm hoping there's some more. Pulse only did one last year as well. My number 4 was already talked about tonight. So I will just share a few other things. True Romance in 4K. I am, for some reason, probably just because of the age that I was during that time, but I really appreciate 90s cinema. I think a lot of that is just nostalgia based for me, but for some reason, this has always been one of my favorites from the 90s. And I said it in my video. I said it a couple weeks ago on this channel, and I'll say it again. I think this is one of the best casted films of all time. I think everybody in this role, everybody in this film in their roles do probably the best version of those characters. It is one of those movies where it is almost impossible to picture somebody else in one of those roles. And it is such a star-heavy film, looking back on it, and everybody associated with it. It's such huge names, and they all were huge, either right after this or long after this, and they have just such tenured careers. But genuinely, one of Vinegar Syndrome's best 4Ks. It is not their best. It's not even their best of the year, but it is easily top like 3 or 4 of their 4Ks. This is such a great release. However, all of the limited editions of this have all sold out and are going for like $110 on eBay now. So they are releasing a standard edition of this 4K. Fully worth it. Lots of great special features on here. True Romance. Nothing else needs to be said. Great release.
You know what else is a great release?
No, I don't. Please tell me.
My number 2.
How about your number 3, please?
Oh, number 3. Sorry. Fuck. I can't count, guys.
Oh, we know.
I was talking about soup with my mom. Number 3 would have been my number 1 box set. I was so blown away by this set. It's very special to me. I love these movies. It's by a director who is incredible. Eureka. And that is Cinematic Vengeance. 8 films by Joseph Coe. Brilliant artwork by Dan Wheeling. Right there. Darren Wheeling, sorry. The way that the set is laid out is that there's 2 Blu-ray cases, there's 2 movies per disc. The way it's laid out is each case is themed. So the first case is Deadly Masters, and then there's 7 Grandmasters, 36 Deadly Styles. Great first disc. The World of Drunken Master and the Old Master. Second disc is Fearless Shaolin, Shaolin Kung Fu, Shaolin Kids, 18 Bronzemen, Return of 18 Bronzemen. Even the bad movies have such a charm to them because there are, I think the World of Drunken Master and the Old Master are bad movies, but they were still somewhat enjoyable. The book is fantastic. The transfers on these movies, like what Frank Jang was talking about last night, is that a lot of, because Joseph Kuo has 2 movies that are more popular than anything that's in this box set, Mystery of Chess Boxing and Born Invincible. Those 2 movies are so beloved and so sought after that they can't find any film masters without burned in subtitles. So those movies are just going to be lost to time eventually. But the transfers on these are mind-blowingly good. 7 Grandmasters look like it was filmed yesterday. And again, like I was saying, it's very low budget. So with these transfers, you can see where the wig is starting to form and where it's fallen off and stuff during the scenes. 7 Grandmasters is probably the best Shapes movie. Shapes Kung Fu is a certain style, like there's Basher, there's Wuxia. Shapes, it's the best Shapes movie. A lot of styles. The book is fantastic. A nice set of lobby cards that I haven't even opened, but I've seen other people open them and look at them. Brilliant box set. Eureka fucking knocked it out of the park. Blew me away with the set. Like when this was announced, I was like, holy shit. Like they're taking a gamble, putting out 8 Kung Fu movies that the majority of people have not heard of. So
yep.
That's number 3 for me.
Indicator.
Yeah.
Easily I'm a huge film noir fan. Actually, my dad got me a film noir book for Christmas, actually, from Tension. But this is fantastic. All their film noir releases have been incredible. Feature-wise, these are the features right here. That's how many.
It's a book by itself.
lot of really cool Three Stooges shorts, by the way, which was kind of surprising. The book in this too is incredible. And if you haven't been picking these up, I got the first set behind me right there, but just amazing stuff with this. The write-ups on these are amazing. Indicator just knocks it out of the park all the time. Every release that I got from Indicator is definitely a top release. And this rocks. I love film noir. If you're collecting film noir, if you love film noir, get the Indicator box sets. I love every one of these films. Affair in Trinidad is a favorite of mine. But just across the board, every single one of these are fantastic.
I still think Indicator is the most consistent label out there.
Yes.
100%. Actually,
I think objectively they are. Easily.
Spoiler alert. This label may be my top label this year when it comes to labels.
Yeah.
Just everything they do across the board and what they got coming up in the new year. Insane.
All right.
You know what else is insane? Ryan's number 3.
I noticed a few minutes ago that I didn't have any box sets really high on my list. Like the Columbia Classics is up there, but that's really because I think we talked about this last week, but I'm unable to pull a flip and really go watch 8 films from the same director in 3 different days and then spend the next 2 weeks doing all of the special features. I'm not that type of person.
I'm on the spectrum and I can do that. I have a super.
Oh, I am as well. But my wife tends to watch everything with me, which makes that difficult because she doesn't.
My wife cannot stand the shit I like, so that's good for me.
My wife liked Ebola syndrome too. So, my number 3, I think, is one of the best films from the last 10 years, and I'm shocked that it already got a really good boutique release for this. And that is Second Sight's release of The Guest.
Not what I was guessing. Holy shit.
That one is still coming. So this is an incredible release. 4K, massive the size of
that's so bad.
is crazy. This, for the first time, has the CD soundtrack on here. And that's why it was so expensive. A lot of people were upset about that. It was like $55 to $60 US. But because they had to pay the rights for all the music. And it was the first time. So it was sort of a semi-revolutionary release for this title. Lots of really good special features on here, but really, this is just for the movie itself. It is so well done. I absolutely love this movie. Adam Wingard is brilliant on this, and the Dan Stevens in this is so good. He is such a great actor and carries this entire film. Also, shout out, I did this in my own video, but Lance Reddick, the guy that was in The Wire and John Wick, such an imposing actor when he needs to be. He is crazy good in this.
He's in Bosch too. And every time he's on screen, I can hear his voice. But the moment you said Lance Reddick, I just hear Bosch in my head. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, the guest is great. If you don't have it, please consider picking it up. It is such a great release.
Look, this fucking piece of shit's in the chat. What's up, Jeremy? I love Jeremy, by the way. I'm just.
Why didn't you answer your phone at 2:30 in the morning in Pennsylvania?
Jeremy,
last night?
why?
Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy, you fucking asshole. I tried calling him again tonight, but he was busy going to the movies with his dad.
Damn
what
it,
a loser. Also, I want to counterpoint something you said. Adam Wingard sucks, in my opinion. But Death Note, terrible. Your Next, this mumblecore shit, no.
Your Next is great.
Godzilla versus Kong, yeah.
Are we talking about different people? I don't think he did all those.
Yeah, he did. He's a director of all those.
He did Godzilla versus Kong. I still haven't seen it.
Which I really like, actually.
I like the fight scenes, but the story, like literally, guys, spoilers for Godzilla vs. Kong. You're not watching it for the plot. Come on, be serious now.
If you're watching any movie named Godzilla that's not the original Godzilla, you're not watching for the plot ever.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you can't look at Godzilla versus Kong and say, well, that story's not good. Have you watched the last 30 to 45 years Godzilla films?
I can only take so much stupidity, and when they literally save the day by spilling a Coke on the control panel, like, come on.
But that's not what you're watching it for. You're watching it for what they do well, and that's the fights.
For fucking King Kong going berserk, you know?
Also, by the way, Dan Stevens for James Bond. That's as soon as I saw that.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
He would be incredible.
Love you too, Jeremy Crooked. My number 2 is my favorite single release of the year. We talked about it heavily last night. I think it's one of the most brilliant martial arts films of all time, and that's Duel to the Death. Aaron, have you seen this?
I need it.
It's
almost
insane.
every single one of these martial arts ones that you got put on your there is on my list of stuff to buy, especially the 88 film stuff.
This one is buy this one sooner because it's absolutely insane. Just the way that they film action in this movie is brilliant. There are there's a lot of ninjas. There's a lot of creativity. The ninjas can morph into one big ninja. There's a brilliant fight scene at the end where they're fighting on a rock, and the scenery is just so beautiful. And I have no idea how the actors had the cahoons to go up on this rock while like it's like literally just a rock, cliff everywhere, water down below, and they're doing fucking flips. They're running at each other all while on this cliff. It's beautiful. It's brilliant. And it's one of my favorite movies of all time now. Like it's up there with Lone Wolf and Cub for me. Like I just absolutely adore this movie. It is mind-blowingly good. Frank Jang gives an excellent commentary. I talked about it last night for people who aren't gonna watch that episode, I'll bring it up again. There's a scene where they're at like a Shaolin monk temple, and there's symbols on the temple, and Frank Jang translates them in his commentary, and it's actually really important to the story. And I'm glad that he did that. Nice little touch. Guys, seriously, this is one of the best martial arts movies of all time. What's your most wanted Asian release that you hope comes out soon? I mean, Asia's a big continent.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I mean,
Flip wants a Bollywood Renaissance in 4K.
Massive Bollywood box. Would love it. Before I knew about the Kamen Rider stuff, Kamen Rider would have that was like one of my things. I was like, we need more tokusatsu. We're having a renaissance of that. Before this year, I wanted martial arts cinema, and we're getting such a plethora of it. So it's really hard to be like, what's one thing I want? I want a box set. It's probably not going to happen. I thought it was, but after Arrow's code for next year, and they had a relationship with Daiei, I want a Sleepy Eyes of Death box set. It's a samurai. It's a film. It's a samurai series. Very violent. Not as violent as like Lone Wolf and Cub, but very violent. A lot of fun. There's 12 movies with the same actor. His name was Rizzo, and he died young in a car crash. And then they filmed 2 other movies without him after his death, and they weren't successful because they didn't have the main star in it. So they canceled the series. I want that. I would love more Yakuza films, especially Kenji Fukasaku. He directed so many other movies other than Battles Without Honor and Humanity and Battle Royale. But yeah, like when I step back and look at what I want, I mean, I'm blown away that we have a Zatoichi box set. I'm blown away that we have a Battles Without Honor and Humanity box set. I'm blown away that we have a Daimajin set, a Shaw Brothers box set. There's so I think we're literally living in the best time for physical media across the board. And as a fan of I don't talk about this much on the show, but I'm a massive fan of anime, especially mecha anime. And Discotek is just cranking out old 70s mecha anime, and it's just incredible. But yeah, I also want to highlight the book in Duel to Death. Amazing new essay by James Oliver, but they also included at the end here Frank Jang's original liner notes that were published on the Laserdisc. So you get all that as well. Brilliant movie. Here's some posters at the back. There's a lot of ninjas in this movie. There's a scene where there's a sword fight between a samurai and a ninja. He decapitates him. The head gets stabbed into a branch on a tree, and the head threatens him. It opens its eyes and talks, threatens him, and then the head explodes. Amazing movie. Very bloody.
I'm going to grab onto what you said just because we mentioned it once a long time ago, and I'm going to keep speaking it into the ether until it's real. I still don't understand how we don't have a good Ju-On box set.
Yeah.
We don't have The Grudge, and I don't get it.
I mean, anything's possible. I mean, we got New York Ninja this year.
I'm still shocked that Arrow didn't have it lined up for The Ring, One Missed Call trilogy, and then Ju-On. That should have been right there.
Yep. But what is your? Oh, we need a Pinky Violence box set. We're still getting plenty of Pinky Violence releases though. Like once
Third
a year,
Window.
Yeah, Third Window puts out double pack, double feature releases. Arrow puts out at least one Taro Ishii exploitation film a year. Yeah, so we're getting plenty of them. Yeah, see, look at that. We're getting. It's literally the best time. Jeremy says my biggest goal in these live shows is to make Ryan laugh or at least smirk in the middle of one of Flip's passionate rants. I thought they said passionate ranch, and I was like, I love ranch.
Oh, we know.
Aaron, speaking of ranch, what is your number 2?
What if his number 2 is Rancho Deluxe? That would have been amazing.
Oh my God, Aaron, please.
It's not, but
is that number 3?
yeah, the best. This is by far and large. Like the other 2 are good; they're really good, but this is by far the best that they've done for the Forgotten Jowly sets. Every one on this one is fantastic. Autopsy is a great film. Murder Mansion is just one of those that is a lost classic, and it's so freaking good. I love everything about this film from the beginning to the end. Love the ending of this film. And Crazy Desires of a Murder is really, really well done as well. I liked every single one on this set. And again, the even the artwork from the inside,
Great.
amazingly done. This one, I'm losing out on, but okay. So where's the one here that I'm on? So this one here, Crazy Desires of Murder. This is insane. There's all these kind of plot lines that are going through, plots that don't have anything to do with the main plot, but are fascinating as fuck to watch. These are really, really good. This, Evelyn Stewart, is kind of one of the underrated, Giallo actresses. She's rarely ever talked about. She's in this one. She has actually a good role in this film here. And this one is probably the most known out of the 3 films. But you could pick any of these up at any night and just have a blast, because all 3 of these are insanely great. This was an easy pick for me.
All right. My number 2 has been heavily talked about already tonight, so I don't want to go too much into detail on it. But it is hard to know how good Django looks in 4K.
Django.
Genuinely one of the best 4Ks ever released, like by any label ever. Looks incredible. The resolution is really where it is just astounding. Obviously, the colors look good, but it's a Western, and it's a very muted Western to begin with, for a reason. It's a movie to highlight Franco Nero, not to be like stylish in a colorful way.
Fucking beautiful blue eyes.
And speaking of those blue eyes, one of the things that was not brought up earlier, I want to point out that literally almost 50 years, or actually a little more than 50 years after this release, we get a brand new interview on this with Franco Nero, and he goes into details from the set just from memory. Just, yeah, you know, that thing I filmed 53 years ago, this happened on that one day, and it was fun. And it's crazy. He is like spry and bright and still just absolutely astounding.
He does the same thing on Massacre Time. There's an interview with him that was like last year or something, and he's still got it.
They probably literally filmed at the same time.
Is he sitting in like a really fancy looking room?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's probably the same time.
Yeah. Just again, incredible release. If you don't have this one, this is a mistake, because this is going to be one of Arrow's, like, they are known for this release film.
I love Django. Number 1 is going to shock a lot of you because you guys are going to think it's something that it's not. And that is, I think, a very underrated spaghetti western that not a lot of people. It's my number 1. The Hills Run Red by Kino Lorber. This is a really important western because it kind of predates Django as well. 1966, same year. But what's important about this movie is that it's the only spaghetti western that Henry Silva was in, and it's kind of weird that he didn't do more. He's great in this movie. He's very menacing. He's got a great screen presence. He was in a lot of Eurocrime, so it's weird. He was in Italy during this period, and he didn't do any other spaghetti western, which blows my mind. Just kidding, guys. It's Shawscope Volume 1. This release is incredible. But by the way, Hills Run Red is great. This is one of the best releases ever, period. This is going on the Mount Rushmore of box sets for me personally, like Flip's Mount Rushmore of box sets. It's Zatoichi, it's Bowser,
Lone Wolf and Cub.
It's Lone Wolf and Cub, it's Vengeance Trails, it's Sartana. Like, this is absolutely incredible. And this is the first time, like, this is a dream. Like, this is a wet dream come true for martial arts fans, because for so long, the genre that I love was ignored, and wasn't given amazing releases like this. And then this year we have Cinematic Vengeance, but it's so. I'm gonna quit holding this because this is kind of fucking heavy. It's crazy to me that we live in a time when martial arts movies are getting a better box set treatment than like Friday the 13th. Like, that's just mind blowing. And I think the selection of films, and that's the other thing, is it feels very curated. The selection of films, and it's happening in chronological order. I don't know if any of the people watching, and you're picking up on that the way that they're picking the releases is in chronological order. So you're getting like a brief history of Shaw, but they're only doing like the martial arts movies. Come Drink With Me, which I think is also from 1966, strangely, which seemed to be a great fucking year for cinema. That's a wuxia film, but the box set seemed to be very heavily towards martial arts movies. They all happen in chronological order. It kicks off with King Boxer, which is just an amazing movie. It moves into Boxer from Shantung. And then from there, it just gets better and better. The transfers are incredible. You can tell early on in like King Boxer and Shantung that the film elements probably weren't the best, but by the time you get the 5 Venoms and then Crippled Avengers, they look so good, like shockingly good. We had a Blu-ray of 5 Venoms from Dragon Dynasty, but I think that was just an upscale from the DVD. It's a new scan here. Looks incredible. Crippled Avengers, I think, looks the best. That's my favorite of the set. But it's cool because you're getting a little bit of everything. You're getting some of the Shaolin cycle. You're getting some of the Venom movies. And then, you're getting, Dirty Ho, as much as that's a comical name, that's a masterpiece. Dirty Ho is a masterpiece of a movie. Very rarely do I find comedy in martial arts specifically funny, because I think they have a very different sense of humor over there versus here. But it's hysterical. The action is incredible. Lar Kar Lung is, I think, one of the best directors ever. Dirty Ho is phenomenal. Executioners from Shaolin is incredible. Shaolin Temple is incredible. Like, there's so many amazing releases. So many amazing movies in this set. All the commentaries except for Simon Abrams, go fuck yourself. His commentary sucks. The book is all right, and we know. Don't laugh. That dude's a fucking piece of shit. And what we know what's coming in box set 2, I think box set 2 is already going to trump this box set. Like, box set 2,
which is wild
to me. Like, mind blowing. Like, the fact that we're getting. Let's see if I can do this off the top of my head. We got Invincible Shaolin. We got Magnificent Ruffians. We got Kid with the Golden Arm. We got 10 Tigers of Kwantung. We're 36 Chambers and Return to possibly the third. I don't think they're going to do the third. That movie's god awful. A Chor Young movie, which I think is going to be Magic Blade, and then My Young Auntie. So we know it's going to be 12 films again. We got confirmed that. I am Simon Abrams, and I take offense to that flip. Ban Bubba. He's Simon Abrams, my mortal enemy. But yeah, just incredible release. Just absolutely incredible. When it was announced, what's the tensile strength of the box? Tensile strength? Like, can I pick it up with chopsticks? Is that what he's asking me? The fuck does that mean?
Can you kill a man with it? Easily.
Easily. Yes. And what a glorious way it would be to die.
The scope of that kill.
The scope of that kill. But seriously though, guys, the presentation of this is just great. I can't wait for box set 2. I'm curious at what the remaining films are going to be. My only criticism with Arrow and their Shaw titles is that they are playing it extremely safe. They are playing it. I mean, they're giving these movies, these classics, great transfers. I'm very thankful for that. But they are playing it safe. Behind my head, the stack right here, these are all Shaw Brothers movies. Besides the one-arm boxer box set right here, the one-arm swordsman box set, all these are movies that I don't think will ever get a release. They're very unknown Shaw Brothers movies. And there are some great gems that are hidden there, like the Bastard Swordsman 2 films, Trail of a Broken Blade. There's just the Brave Archer series. We only got the first one from '88. There's so many good movies that they could be picking prior to the martial arts boom that are straight up swordplay films. And there are some gangster movies as well. The Godfather of Canton, Tokyo Godfathers. There's a lot of good movies that they could be picking, but they seem to be playing it safe. That's my only criticism. And I'm hoping someone picks Avenging Eagle eventually, because that's an incredible movie. But beggars can't be choosers.
One thing to keep in mind too, on keeping it safe, this is Arrow's first foray into Shaw at all. So yes, 88 Films has seen some mild success with some of them. Like a lot of them, they did not sell gangbusters from 88 Films. They sold okay. And yes, these are very safe titles, but if they sell very well, which from all indications, it seems like they are selling like hotcakes. If that's the case, you could see a Shawscope Volume 3 in like a year and a half with all new licensed titles that are a much deeper cut, that are more fan favorites or something. Now, I'm not saying that's for sure coming, but this could be something that really opens the floodgates because they see that it does well. They see that there's a market for it, and everything changes because of that.
And also, I mean, the martial, like, I'm glad Arrow's doing this, but I feel like 88 and Eureka are taking more risks with their martial art movie picks. Chinese boxer, duel of death, one-arm boxer. I feel like they're more risky, especially the Joseph Klo set. That's a risky.
Duel of the Death was not risky.
I feel like it was risky enough. This, for sure, 100% risky. This movie is just risky. And I hope it's selling well for them because it's incredible. But I would love to see Arrow pick some deeper cuts. The Chor Yun movie is a nice get, and it's nice that we're pretty much going to have almost the majority of the good Venom movies in a new transformation. So in a new transfer. So, but yeah, I'm absolutely happy and stoked on Shaw Scope. Blown away. Fuck Criterion.
What's your number one, Aaron? All right, so before I do it, well, my number one probably would have been the Shaw Scope box set, or it probably would have been the folk horror box set from Severin, or honestly, there's one of the other releases that came out earlier, but unfortunately this year I didn't get to buy a lot. It was a rough, hard year, and it's going into a second rough, hard year, and I'm feeling crappy about that right now. So I won't have as fancy a number one pick as you guys will. But just for something that I really enjoyed, for something that was really fun, that I watched and I was excited when it came out.
Yeah, you were hyped on that as well.
Yeah, I was really big on these films here. So these are by Pierre David, the producer. He produced these. He's kind of a Roger Corman type producer here in Canada. He's done a bunch of stuff. So he produced all of the films. So, you know, the first Scanners film, I'll be honest with you, not the greatest film. The lead actor, not the best. Michael Ironside saves it. But Scanners 2 and 3, lots of fun. But Scanners Cop, they're on a whole different level. They did not expect this to come out. When I found out this was coming out, I expected it to be Blu-ray. I did not expect to be getting 2 4K discs for the Scanner films, films, and it's a sin that he died so young, because I would love to have seen more from the actor, because the lead actor in this film is unfortunately passed away early. But great stuff in this one, and especially in the second one. So Buddy's when Buddy's veins are popping out in this movie, that's not a special effects. He's doing that. He's a method actor, and he's like literally popping his veins out on his forehead and his face. And the guy was pretty much like pretty insane with that type of stuff, and utterly adored this film. Love both of these. And I go back and forth on which one I like best, because second one is batshit insane. Like literally, dude goes to hell in the second movie. He literally go like not like metaphoric. He goes to hell at near the end of this film, and to fight the bad guy. Yeah. So yeah, when it came down to what my number one was going to be, nothing else kind of came close to what this gave me, and I'm excited to watch this again.
It is wild to me that we have the 5th film in the Scanners franchise in 4K.
I know, it's insane.
And they genuinely look incredible.
And the crazy part is the Scanners franchise, the ones we started out with, like, you know, with the first one, you got a big director, but they get better as they go along. And you think, okay, the first one, that's the classic, that's the big one, that's one Criterion put out, Flip's favorite company. But no, the films get more entertaining and better as they go along.
All right. My number one has been guessed by a lot of people already tonight. So I'm just going to show it real quick. The Nightingale by Second Sight. This is again, this is a movie that has some hard scenes to watch. There's a sexual assault. There is some violence on a victim that can't do anything to protect themselves. And it is a really hard scene. But this movie affected me more emotionally than any film that I've seen in literally years. This hit really hard. The big thing is that Shout Factory put this out in the US, and their release is good in terms of features and all that, but nothing compared to Second Sight putting it out limited edition with a nice book, and then all kinds of new stuff on here. We've got a lot of the same features on the Shout release, but then there are some new ones on here. Again, just Jennifer Kent putting out a wonderful release for this is only her second film, and it's such a unique insight to a people that are still being treated as less than in Australia, and it's crazy everything that they've had to go through, and it's I don't know. This is kind of a hard one to talk about because it's a marginalized people being treated poorly, but then the movie goes on to show a lot of it through the You have a question?
I was just gonna say, where does that sound familiar? Marginalized people getting treated like shit. Where have I heard that one before?
Yeah, that's never happened anywhere else, thankfully.
No, just Australia.
But it is such a wonderful movie, and it hit really hard, and it's one that I've kind of harped on this channel for a long time this year. I think it was the first film I reviewed on my channel, and it is genuinely a brutal opening to a movie that goes in basically a revenge plot, but it's so much deeper than that, and it's so much more human and intrinsic to the person that is running through that life that we're seeing it through, and it's hard to watch.
Does Second Sight ever put out an edition that's not the best edition when you really think about it? Like if it's put up at Second Sight, isn't that always the best edition of that film?
Yes. Yep, that's for sure. Now we're going to be possibly questioning that soon. Well, probably not, because they're putting out censored, which got the VSP from Vinegar Syndrome, but the VSP release did not have a book. That is a book, at least. And I don't even think there is a booklet in that release, is there?
No.
And
come on, there's a small booklet. Because it showed like
very small booklet.
Yeah. But is there are there more features than Second Sight release? I'm guessing.
There are. I think it's all identical. There might be one or two new, but it is pretty close.
But I got there a couple years ago. I picked up the When a Stranger Calls release. Holy crap, man. That was insane.
It is. Yeah.
I want to do something unconventional. Bootleg of the year. Not joking. Bootleg of the year. Mystery of Chess Boxing from the Kung Fu Robber. Looks phenomenal. 35mm print, new restoration that they did themselves. Yeah. Bootleg of the year.
So I'm curious. We go around a little bit and talk about how the year went for physical media. Trends that you see that are happy for you. Obviously, we know flips, but also things that might be worrying.
What's worrying for me is I think these Hong Kong and China releases are going to dry up relatively soon, especially with the new laws. I feel like what's licensed is licensed, and that's what we're going to get. I am very disappointed about that. Also, I feel like the biggest thing for me is that we're going to get a lot of retreads. Like I was saying earlier, a lot of companies are going to play it safe and just get retreads of DVD copies and not bring classics that are stuck on VHS out. And I am kind of worried about Japanese cinema in general. It seems like Arrow's the only one really kind of pushing it. There's a ton of Japanese movies. I mean, that's like my main love is Japanese, especially Chambara and samurai films. There's a lot of samurai movies that need to get Blu-ray restorations and put out that I have on DVD. And I feel like everyone is focusing on these martial arts and just Hong Kong movies in general, especially like the crime movies. I feel like the next wave is going to be another wave of Japanese movies. I feel like it's coming.
And if anybody wants a really good, thorough response to that Hong Kong laws and everything coming out, obviously watch the stream with Frank Jang last night. He really goes into depth on it. And I'm glad we got it from somebody so close to the source.
Ragnar says, does anybody actually read the books that come in the Blu-ray and DVDs? Yeah.
Well, hold on. Before you answer that, I'm going to say, does anybody on the stream not read the books that come with these? Because I think all three of us are pretty heavily into those.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a movie I don't give a fuck about, I'm not going to read the book. But I'm not usually buying movies that I'm not too heavily invested in. Like, I went through that Shaw book quick. I pretty much read the books before I watch the movies, because I'll get the movies in probably while I'm at work, and on my break while I have 15-20 minutes, I'll burn through the book and read it. And I mean, that's where I get a lot of my knowledge and information is from those books, is from the commentaries. Like I'm the type of consumer that I will listen to every commentary. I will watch the movie multiple times. I mean, there was a point this year, like my goal was to watch 365 movies this year, but I literally watched like Lone Wolf and Cub, the entire series, like 4 times this year, because I just get stuck on what I love and devour them. So yeah, of course. And if you don't, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, and not to mention some of these titles, you're buying them and they're like $35 for a release. You get your money's worth by spending a couple hours reading the book, by watching the movie, by rewatching with the commentary, by watching all the special features. And by the end of it, you spent, a good 9-10 hours with one film, and you absorbed so much new information, not only about that, but for things like the Django book. It is film school, basically, for not only for all of the entire Django titles and the Django adjacent titles, but then the second half of the book goes all into Corbucci and his history. And so going into depth on things like that, you learn so much, and it makes your money that you're putting into it so much more than, just buying a $35 film that's over in 90 minutes.
I'm tired of special editions with low numbers. I hate finding a film and then finding out it's already out of print. I mean, at the same time, though, these companies, they're not making millions and millions of dollars.
Right.
Like when Arrow got bought out by the Hut Group, it showed their financials, and their net profit was only like a little over $500,000.
Right.
So they're not making a ton of, and that's net profit. So that's after they pay employees. That's after they, pay the licensors. But
a lot of that profits goes into future licenses as well.
So it's not that much money. It's really not. So these low numbers, especially on things like the Cinematic Vengeance trilogy, 3,000 copies, that's a risky investment, And I think Bows Out Honor Humanity at the time was a risky investment for Arrow. 2,500 copies. That was almost 6 years ago at this point. 2,500 copies for a film series that wasn't that known here. And when you go back, and Aaron, I talked to you about this last time I brought this up. Aaron commented on their announcement page years ago for Bows, and he's like, I'm skipping this. And that's how everyone reacted to it, basically. They were like, oh, whatever. And eventually, the diehards picked it up. It went on sale. People picked it up. And then now, 5 years later, it's one of the most sought-after releases for collectors.
I have it.
Yeah, and I think it's a brilliant release.
It is great.
I mean, it's very risky. I mean, and I think I like that companies like Eureka, and also 88, hey, our special edition with the slip in the book, 3,000 copies. And then once it's out, they'll get a reprint. It blows my mind that things like Daimajin sold out. It blows my mind that we're already going to standard for Years of Lead, so that means that's probably close to being sold out. You got to remember, we're a very close, like very small group of collectors. Every year, physical media sales are going down year over year. But it's people like us, people watching, who keep that shit alive. Companies like Criterion can afford to, because they have a bunch of idiots who buy all their stuff. Except for Daisuke Beppu, he's not an idiot. He's a brilliant man, and I love him very much. But yeah, people like Jeremy Long being like, "Oh, Criterion, our house," oh, you know what I mean? So they can afford to, and then people like Kino that they can probably afford to keep a lot of stuff in print as well because they don't put a lot of special features in there. The packaging is very uniformed. It's cheap, which is great. I love Kino, but yeah.
The other
Well,
side
no,
of this,
honestly,
though, go ahead.
Has Criterion really been pumping out like a ton of really like big releases, or have they been recently recycling a lot of stuff, putting in some more like kind of like popular releases on the kind of mainstream releases to kind of keep afloat? Have they been kind of like pulling back on the booklets and putting like
Yes,
thinner
they
booklets and posters? We've seen a lot of changes when it comes to Criterion and what they do. So I don't think they're doing as well as people think
That's
that
a
they
great
were
point.
doing.
They're cutting corners left and right.
Exactly. I think a
Special
lot of
features
people are.
are
And that's
less
one of
and
the
less
things
and
that's going
less.
on right now is we've had a golden, amazing time for collecting. And we're still going to have like collector sets and box sets come out. But are we going to have the amount and the range of stuff? No, because that pool there's a lot of companies out there right now. There's a bunch of new partner labels coming up from Vinegar Syndrome. There's a bunch of other labels that are around there. There's only so much before that pool that they're dipping into gets shallow, especially when a lot of them are looking towards similar and the same releases. So am I positive that we're going to have like extra like good years and like some extra excellent sets come out? Yes. Do I think that it's going to slowly weed out and we're going to basically be like a collector's group in the same way that like say records are?
yeah.
Yes, a 110% yes. But the problem is there's not as much out there that hasn't been out. There's a lot that's been put out. That's why we're going to see a lot of 4K releases. We're going to see a lot of like 4K double dips and triple dips and stuff like that. Blue Underground, Snaps, the companies that put out a lot of that stuff. We're also going to see releases that are going to be put out that are 4K that do not need to be 4K. I'm going to say it. Ebola Syndrome, did it need to be 4K? No. Terminal Island, did that need to be 4K? No. But the elements were there, so they said, let's just we can do a 4K. We'll get some extra money on it. Let's put it in a 4K release. You know, Ebola Syndrome is not my bag, but it's an extremely well made film. Terminal Island, I really like that film, but did I need a 4K of Terminal Island? No. But the 4K is going to get people that may not have bought that release initially. It's going to get those extra people that may have looked at it and said, okay, and that get a little bit of extra money in there as well. So I think we're going to get a lot more 4K releases when it comes out, but a lot of other kind of like stuff is going to, like Arrow's doing it right now, like Giallo box sets. You know, here's Giallo Essentials stuff we put out before. Here's Argento, but now it's Argento in 4K. We're going to get a lot more of that. So things are going to wind down a bit. There's only so much that they can do before companies are kind of putting out the same releases or different like versions of the same releases, or just putting out films like, okay, here's another forgotten Giallo set, but these Giallos have been forgotten for a reason. And that's the sad truth. I love Giallo films. I do. But I would be lying if I said that the Forgotten Giallos Volume 1 and 2 didn't have a lot of stuff that is literally filler. Like they're fun that I have them, the first one, but I can pick it up and I say, yes, I know why people forgot about this one. It's great that it's out there. I'm glad that a company put it out, but unfortunately, we're going to get a lot more of that because there's only so many, don't be, Alone in the Dark. There's only so many Phantom of the Malls that comes out. There's only so many Shaw Brothers releases that they can put out before they're going to be putting out something extremely kind of like they're mining the bottom of that well, and they're like, hey, this is a Roger Corman release in 4K, and we don't need any Roger Corman releases really in 4K. But I bet you Scream Factory is eventually going to put them all out that way.
The only thing I will say on that front that nobody mentioned is when they're actually signing the contracts for some of these licenses from the rights holders, they legitimately limit them and they say you are only allowed to sell this many copies. So it's not always labels saying we will take the risk and say we're going to do at least 3,000. It is sometimes you are literally only allowed to sell, 3,000 of this title no matter what. Now, the ones that are doing it right, at least, I get it that most places don't have the money like Criterion to always do the Godzilla box set in this crazy coffee table book that I hate personally. But for a company like Vinegar Syndrome, they're putting money that's a few extra dollars for that slipcover on every single one, and then once that's gone, the movie is still in print until the end of their contract. And I love when companies can do that. So I consider that is possibly the case. And the sad part is we're never going to know publicly the deals that are happening. So it's all just going to be speculation unless some label starts to be super open about it.
And at the end of the day, there's only so much that they can tell us when it comes to when it comes to this. Like the Cardona set, it baffles me. But somebody, signed off, said, okay, 3 Cardona sets, we're in for the whole works. And I'm like, may not have been the best decision, but I understand why they made it. Because there's only so many pulls to go from. Not everything's going to be like Ruben Galando Jr. Sometimes you're going to get a Cardona, and that's not just Vinegar Syndrome. That's every company. That's it. To look at Rad, for instance, they put out Rad. They could only have so many copies of Rad. They put out the amount of copies of Rad that they could put out. As far as like they knew that was their deal, they had to do it with 4K. There was a 4K Blu-ray release. There was a big thing behind that. They were put a whole lot of attention behind Rad. The second that was dropped, then it was put out by another, put out like digitally, and then it was put out by Mill Creek eventually with the Mondo Steelbook, and then with the original, with the regular release. So it was the one that was like wasn't anywhere, and then it was like everywhere, and then other companies were putting it out. But when a company like Vinegar Syndrome or one of those other companies puts it out, they're putting it out in good faith that, okay, this is, these are the copies I got. This is the amount that I got. And some people got upset. We're like, okay, well, how come another company's putting it out? Well, that has nothing to do with the company that put it out before. They sign a contract in good faith that, okay, these are the releases that are going out. This is a premium edition. But, it's the rights holder can turn around the second and just, okay, I'm going to give it to this, and this company. This is what you got. And if there's anything out there that I want to see put out, Russ Meyer. I would love to have the Russ Meyer stuff put out on Blu-ray, but unfortunately the rights holders on that are very tight-fisted when it comes to that as well.
I think we're going to see Eureka move. You already saw it this year. I think they're going to move away from the Masters of Cinema line and focus heavily on the Asian movies.
Yep.
I mean, it seems to be like their entire slate so far for next year. At least one Hong Kong movie a year. I mean, one Hong Kong movie a month next year is insane. Because I think it is selling very well for them. I mean, I think martial arts fans is a potential pool of money as big as horror movies, in my opinion. Like, there are horror movies fans that are diehard and crazy, and there are people that match that same energy that are martial arts fans. And I think Eureka's seeing that, and they're like, well, fuck, let's just... I mean, The Great Silence is not... You know how like most of the Masters of Cinema line is on the front cover of the slipcover? It's not on there. They're like, it's not branded as that. So until you take the slipcover off. But yeah, I think we're going to see that. I think I would love if Vinegar Syndrome went into cheesy, terrible action movies. I would love that.
They've put out a lot of cheesy, terrible action movies.
Oh, that's the thing right now, actually.
I love it. But again, I mean, these, like, for instance, I have these movies right here, just off the top of my head, from Animigo. There are so many. I mean, this right here, this came out before Zatoichi, and this is what Shintaro Katsu eventually launched Zatoichi on. I mean, there's so many good samurai movies that are just going to be lost to time. For instance, this movie in particular, this movie is written by Kan Ichikawa, Kaisuke Kinoshita, Masaki Kobayashi, and Akira Kurosawa wrote this movie. They, no one knows this exists. This is an amazing movie. This is like literally phenomenal, and this should be celebrated the same way. Akira Kurosawa's solo movies are. I think a lot of fantasy fans have discovered martial arts films. I agree, especially wuxia. we were talking about that last night. It's very fantastical. It's very silly. It's very goofy, but yeah, I mean, I really hope this train keeps going because there are, like I said, thousands of movies in the genre that are good, and I really hope we see samurai movies. And that's and I've said this before. This is what I miss about the DVD era. Is the DVD era? It was viable for a company to be hyper specific. This was an entire label, the offshoot of Animigo, that put out anime, but it was called Samurai Cinema. That was the whole line. You had people like Wild East Productions, only spaghetti westerns. So I miss that. I think that's one thing that's missing from Blu-ray collecting is that there isn't hyper specific labels anymore.
Right. And we're talking about wells drying up. I think one of the more important things now that we're talking about Blu-ray and 4K is that to go past the DVD medium, a really hard part of all this is that lots of elements are just gone, and you can't get a proper high-def scan if something doesn't exist.
Thank you, Sardis. Thank you very much. I mean, but at the same time, though, Ryan, there's companies like Umbrella, like I was saying earlier, the 6-shooter classics. A lot of those movies look like shit, but it's the best that they could possibly do. Like those movies are lost of time. So I mean, I guess there's still lines like that around, but I mean, it's sad that like Wild East shut down this year when they've been going on for 21 years. It's just wild to me, but.
I think that because the law is now going on with Hong Kong, that a lot of companies are going to be rushing to grab the rights to as many as possible in the next year. I think we're going to get a lot. I think you're going to be super happy, Flip, because I think we're going to get a lot of Asian releases in the next year, the next 2 years, because they are going to be grabbing as much as they can.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, is that they're going to do that
before it dries up. So that's why we're getting Shawscope. That's why we're going to get all this stuff. 80 films are gone all in. Eureka's going to go all in, and I'm willing to bet that that we're going to see some more stuff coming out from places like Vinegar Syndrome as well, and not just Cat 3. We'll see some Cat 3 stuff, but I think that as we go forward, we know one thing: they keep bringing up like Cynthia Rothrock, keep putting like movies that she like guest stars in. Give her a damn box set for crying out loud. Give her some movies that she stars in.
I do find it weird that she went on a media heavy tour for like a few months, and then it was just movies that she co-starred in.
Yeah, no, that's a sin because like basically it's here's Martial Law. She's the co-star in this one. Here's Tiger Claw. She's the co-star in this one. What about the film she did herself? What about the film she did over in Japan? What about the films like that she did over here, like the Chan O'Briens, the Lady Dragons, the stuff like that? Yes, I want to see that.
Yep. I mean, yeah. And also there's a lot of American westerns that are just also haven't been given the love.
Yeah.
As well, So I mean, there's so many movies, but what do you think is a well that is going to dry up?
Horror. I mean, like I think we're going to move further away from like some of the horror titles, and we're going to go more into action. I think Vinegar Syndrome's already done that. We're starting to see that trend, and it's selling. The action is really selling for Vinegar Syndrome. The VSA line that has been strongly like action. There's been like a few like horror or kind of like adjacent horror, like The Grave, almost like I guess drama thriller type ones. But I think we're going to get a lot more action. That's where we're going to go with a lot of this stuff. A lot more action titles, a lot more. We're going to have to get more fantasy titles. A lot of stuff that we haven't seen. What I would like to see, and this is me. I'm a big fan of that whole like the Skinemax exploitation era of cinema, the Andrew Stevens directed stuff. So like the Night Eyes, the body chemistry, all that stuff that has been overlooked like crazy, and it just blows my mind. Like you would think like a company like Vinegar Syndrome or Severin would look at the Night Eyes films or look at the body chemistry and just go, it's money. Like, it's money it's to print, and it's just really really fun stuff. I'm shocked that we haven't got it yet, and we get a couple like titles here and there, but nothing concrete, no box sets, nothing big. And the fact that the only Night Eyes release that's been put out is a double feature Snapdragon and Night Eyes 4 is a shame actually.
Talking about horror drying up, I think one of the things that we're in for that is going to be a problem is a lot of those boutiques, that have relied heavily on horror, not transitioning quick enough and continuing to put out horror that will literally just be bad. And I think that they will face a wave of backlash before they make that sort of move. And so we are probably going to be seeing more releases of things like The Prey from Arrow that came out, and it's not that great of a movie. It's pretty bad.
Also, I've said this before. There's been a rumor in the martial arts circle that Michael Worth has been working with Severin on a Bruceploitation box set. So
That'd be awesome, actually.
That
I
would
would
be
I would
amazing.
love that.
be amazing. Yeah. So I think I'm not a liar. I think horror. I don't like horror. I don't think it's bad or anything. It's just not my cup of tea. I would and horror fans are fucking obnoxious. Anytime Arrow, no, not you, you're cool, but like anytime any company announces something that's not like Arrow, anytime they announce something that's not a horror movie, boring month. I don't. Where's the one more horror movies? It's like, shut the fuck up.
I did that before. I was guilty of that. And it was an idiotic comment, but yeah.
But as a martial arts fan, it's so relieving when a company doesn't have something that month that I want, because I'm like, goddamn, dude, like, how did I afford this?
Breathe.
How did I pick up Shawscope, Vengeance Trails, Cinematic Vengeance, dual, like all within like 5 months?
Yeah,
I think Eurocrime is going to be the next thing. I really do. I think. I mean, we're kind of going through the Italian genres. Like, it was Giallo. Now it's spaghetti westerns, Eurocrime.
I don't know, but I wish, man. That I love Eurocrime. I really do. So
I do too. And then next, who knows? We might get some of the Sword and Sandal movies that they put out, because they put out a fuck ton of those. So that would be awesome.
Machiste.
As much as I don't want to admit it, the horror Arrow fan impression was pretty spot on.
I think just a lot of collectors are assholes at heart, sadly. I mean, I mentioned this before, but I brought up Mondo Macabro tonight. Jared has shared before that he's gotten literal death threats. And the people that are obnoxious in these comments, it is fucking
Those guys
stupid.
Are losers, dude.
Yeah.
What?
Like, it's a movie. At the end of the day, guys, we're collecting movies here.
Yeah,
we're not changing the world. Like, enjoy when you get something that comes out that you like, enjoy the hell out of it. Like, if something doesn't come out on a month, that's okay. Do you know what? Because there's other months and there's other labels and there's a ton of them out there. So if like Vinegar Syndrome puts out something that you don't like one month, that's okay. There's a bunch of partner labels on Vinegar Syndromes there. And if you don't like that, that's okay, because Arrow Video. If you don't like that, then there's Severin. And then there's another company. There's always something that you can pick up. And if you like obnoxious shit like me, I fucking love the hell out of this, man. This is insane, but I love it.
When I die, I will be buried with this. So
that is awesome. I'm jealous.
I mean, look at Severin this year. I think they kind of. I mean, they could have stretched their box sets out for like 2 years. You know what I mean? I think they blew a lot of it this year.
Can I be honest? I think there's a lot more coming out. And I can't say but yeah, there's more coming.
There's more coming. Yeah, for sure.
It's going to be good. Severin, I think, have reached another level. I know they still screw up when it comes to. Please, Severin, work on your website, man. Like, just get a good server, get a good web designer. But because aside from that, Severin, out of most all the companies out there, aside from Indicator, they're the most improved company
by a long shot. Yeah.
And they've gone on a whole nother level. And people say, what's these releases? Why is Overboard here? Why are these? What's this like Mike Lee movie doing here? Because you can't stick with the same stuff forever. And if you don't start stretching out, you don't start doing something different, you're gonna get stuck into the point where Arrow was in the beginning, where you're gonna have somebody like me going on, man, I really want to see that. Like another one of those like battles without on humanity set. Where's my horror stuff? Where's my Giallo? And that gets annoying.
It's the same people that complain that bands change their sound album to album.
Yeah.
What do you mean Bring Me the Horizon's making pop music now? We're a deathcore band. Yeah, I mean, people are idiots. So I think we just chalk it up to that. People suck, like Jeremy Long, but yeah. You guys want to wrap it up? 3.5 hour episode in the books.
That's it.
That's it. I honestly thought it was gonna be 4. If we would have had another guest, it would have been easily a 4.5 hour show.
Yeah.
Oh my God! If we had another guest, it would have been 5.
I mean,
serious?
Yeah. Honestly, we should have got like 6 people and just did a 12-hour episode. But
Thanks
Aaron,
for hanging out, Aaron. We love you.
We love you. You're more than welcome to come back on anytime that you want.
I am. It's been an honor.
We love you, and we love everybody that's watching except for Jeremy. Make sure you guys subscribe to me, to Aaron, to Ryan. And starting next week, we will be on our separate channel. So go subscribe to the channel. Links in the description below. And go watch Lone Wolf and Cub. I'm only a few days away from not seeing Lone Wolf and Cub since last year. So I'm due for a rewatch.
I'm going to hire somebody to break into your house and steal it.
I have 2 copies, so good luck. One sealed. Actually, no, I have 3 copies. Never mind. I have a DVD set from Amigo, and I have a sealed copy of the Criterion, and then I have one I use. You could bring me in as a 4th person, and you could just hear Flip shit on me in person for another 4 hours of the live. I mean, if you want to come on next week, I'll shit on you.
Pennsylvania's not that far from Illinois.
Oh shit! I'm coming to you, Jeremy.
Anyways, thank you all. It's been a wonderful night. Been a wonderful few months. Look for some big things next year. And like we said, we will only be on the Discovering Cinema channel next Tuesday, not on our own separate channels. So we will see you then. Thanks for hanging out. Been a long night. Get some rest. See you guys.